The old and majestic voice echoed in Chu Feng's mind. Now he was sure that he was definitely not hallucinating. He said seriously, "Master, I don't seem to have heard wrong. Someone is indeed calling me. It calls itself the ancient dragon god. The remaining soul. The remnant soul of the dragon god." Feng Zhu looked at Chu Feng in shock. The remnant soul of the ancient dragon god was actually calling him. Could it be that he has taken a fancy to Chu Feng's talent? Want to deliver the treasure it left behind to Chu Feng? Following the source of the sound, Chu Feng endured the severe pain and searched for the dragon valley mentioned by the dragon god. Chu Feng didn't know why the dragon god's remnant soul would say that he was the destined one, and he didn't know why it was willing to give its essence and blood to him. Following the voice in his mind, a cave appeared in front of Chu Feng in the deep and silent canyon. The cave was darker than he thought, very dark, very quiet. Looking into the cave through the darkness, when Chu Feng walked into the cave, a crystal white light lit up on the rock wall inside the cave, illuminating the cave that had been dim for thousands of years. The cave was very deep, and Feng Zhu and Xie Yuxuan followed Chu Feng closely. They had only heard of the rumors about the Dragon Clan in ancient books. The Dragon Clan considers itself to be of noble blood and will never allow anyone to get involved. But now, this ancient dragon soul is actually willing to give his blood essence to Chu Feng. Could it be said that it has gone through the vicissitudes of time and is about to disappear? So he had no choice but to find an heir for himself? In the huge space deep in the cave, on an altar, the huge dragon bone has gone through thousands of years of vicissitudes, but under the fluorescent light emitted by the rock wall, it still exudes the frightening power of the dragon for thousands of years. Chu Feng stepped forward slowly, gently stretched out his palm, and touched the surface of the keel. Some mysterious power in the keel faintly resonated with the true energy in his body, causing the true energy in his body to appear temporarily, of disorder. Gentle power poured into Chu Feng's body, and the wound on his chest began to slowly heal. From the dragon bone, a pure white soul thought emerged. That is the ancient dragon soul that will call Chu Feng here. The dragon soul transformed into the appearance of a dragon. Although it was just a Tao soul thought, the pressure it exuded made people dare not look directly into its spiritual eyes. The old voice that has passed through the years echoed in Chu Feng's mind. "You are indeed the person I am looking for. There is thin dragon blood flowing in your body. Who are your parents?" Chu Feng raised his black eyes like a dumbfounded chicken. According to Dragon Soul, his body actually contains the blood of the Dragon Clan. Chu Feng replied, "Sorry, I don't know who my parents are. I have never seen them since I can remember." The voice of the ancient Dragon Soul continued to sound. "Since you have the blood of my Dragon Clan, you are qualified to receive my inheritance." "Inheritance? Senior, are you really willing to hand over your essence and blood to me, a human being?" Chu Feng's eyes trembled slightly, his eyes flashing with heat. According to human stereotypes of dragons, even the most inferior dragons in the Dragon Clan will never allow their blood to flow out. It is even more impossible to give blood essence to humans, that is simply a waste of blood. But now that this ancient dragon soul was willing to give its essence and blood to himself, how could Chu Feng not be surprised? The ancient dragon soul explained, "Back then, the human warrior god Xuanyuan was kind to me when our dragon clan suffered a catastrophe. Let me repay Emperor Xuanyuan's kindness to you humans." Catastrophe. Chu Feng frowned slightly, thinking that there were things in this world that the dragon clan could not change. "Senior, I forgive my junior for my words, but I wonder what happened back then. Did the dragon clan, Phoenix clan and other ancient demon clans all disappear from the world?" Chu Feng asked curiously. Among the ancient books and classics of history, there are very few records of ancient times. Most of the records today come from rumors in the countryside. Then, wait a minute, two strange auras appeared outside Dragon Valley. They seem to be coming for you. The ancient dragon soul was about to speak and explain to Chu Feng everything that happened that year. But he felt two strange auras, rushing towards the direction of the cave. The ancient remnant soul also felt the aura of dragon bloodline from one of them, while the other person exuded the aura of the ancient Phoenix clan. Unexpectedly, there are humans who have awakened the Phoenix god's bloodline. It's such a long-lost feeling. Chu Feng turned pale with horror and turned around in panic. "Master, Long Baiyu and Lu Chen may have found us, and they are outside the cave now." Feng Zhu stared at Chu Feng in disbelief. How could this be possible? She has obviously erased all traces of herself, so why can Long Baiyu and Lu Chen still find them? Feng Ju slowly clenched Rudi, and her slightly sharp nails dug deeply into her white palms. A trace of panic flashed in her Feng eyes. Now there was only one thought left in her mind, and that was to run. Dragon Soul didn't know why and asked, "What? You seem to be afraid of them." Chu Feng said in a trembling voice, "Senior, to be honest, the scars all over my body and the injuries of my master are all thanks to the two of them. I'm sorry, Senior, I can't accept your inheritance for the time being. I will wait until I have the opportunity in the future. Coming back here again, I hope seniors can fulfill their promises." Afterwards, Chu Feng turned around and said anxiously to Xie Yuxuan, "Senior sister, master, let's leave here quickly." The ancient dragon soul hesitated slightly and said, "It's too late to leave now, they're already blocked outside the cave." "That's all, you have the blood of the dragon clan, so you are destined to me. Naturally, I can't just watch you die." "Senior, do you want to help us?" Chu Feng said blankly. "If you meet a descendant of my dragon clan in the future, please remember my kindness today and don't embarrass it." That old voice sounded in Chu Feng's heart, and then all three of Chu Feng's bodies were illuminated by white beams of light. The dazzling light made Chu Feng subconsciously close his eyes. When he opened his black eyes again, the surrounding environment had undergone earth-shaking changes. The surrounding ancient trees were towering, blocking the sky, and it seemed to be the depths of ancient ruins. The cave was suddenly bright and dark, and the whiteness on the rock wall dimmed. Finally, the cave was completely silent, without any light. Outside the cave, "Long Baiyu, are you sure Feng Ju is hiding here?" Lu Chen frowned deeply and asked, "Didn't he think Feng Ju would be stupid enough to hide here to heal her injuries? Isn't this asking for death? Wouldn't you know if you go in and take a look? Feng Yu's aura disappears here, but I can guarantee that they have definitely been here." Long Baiyu's beautiful nose was straight, and he promised confidently. On Long Baiyu's bare hand, a piece of crystal white jade appeared. The jade emitted a bright white light, dispelling the gloom in the cave. Lu Chen and Long Baiyu walked into the dragon cave. The dragon cave was very narrow at first, but then it suddenly opened up. Under the illumination of the bright jade in Long Baiyu's hand, the scene deep in the dragon cave fell into their eyes. Deep in the dragon cave, there was a huge altar-like high platform. On top of the altar were the cold bones of some unknown animal, which made Lu Chen's eyes flash with slight surprise. Lu Shenxi thought for a moment and then said, "Long Baiyu, this may be the dragon valley you are looking for, and the remains in front of you are most likely the remains of an ancient dragon." Hearing this, Long Baiyu's glazed eyes, as bright as stars, focused on the huge white bones. Although thousands of years have passed, the aura emanating from the wreckage still makes Long Baiyu feel inexplicably familiar. The ferocious-looking skull made Long Baiyu suddenly realize that the white bones in front of him were the dragon bones that Lu Chen said. Lu Chen really didn't lie to her. "Old Long, we are already here, don't you plan to come out and meet us?" Lu Chen's eyes as deep as the abyss stared at the ancient dragon skeleton. Long Baiyu looked at Lu Chen in shock. Who was he talking to? Besides myself and him, is there anyone else here? Lu Chen slowly stepped forward and put his hand on the dragon corpse. "Old Long, I know that your remnant soul is in this dragon corpse. Have you always been hiding in it?" The dragon soul condensed into a shadow and floated in the air. Its old voice came like a bell. "Humans, this is not the place you should be. Get out of my territory immediately, don't continue to disturb my sleep." The threatening voice fell into the ears of the two of them, making Lu Chen laugh and chuckle. "How dare a mere remnant soul be so arrogant? How dare you be so arrogant even though you are just a remnant soul? Believe it or not, I will make your remnant body disappear into ashes and your remnant soul disappear in a matter of minutes." Lu Chen pulled his lips and sarcastically said, if it wasn't for the old dragon's inheritance, Lu Chen wouldn't bother to talk nonsense with it. He directly stole its dragon blood and crushed it to ashes. But apart from the essence and blood of the ancient dragon, the most valuable thing is naturally the martial arts inheritance of this old dragon. It's a pity that the dragon clan prides itself on being noble. Even if they die and their souls are scattered, they will not surrender to humans easily and will willingly give up their martial arts. So if Lu Chen wants to get the white wolf with nothing and get its martial arts inheritance, he can only outwit it. "Xuanyuan sword, here comes the sword," Lu Chen shouted in a low voice. Then the Xuanyuan sword appeared in Lu Chen's palm. He waved the Xuanyuan sword, with a cold light flashing on the blade. The tip of the sword was pointed directly at the dragon soul. The Xuanyuan sword rippled with astonishing spiritual power fluctuations, and the remnant soul almost died. Disperse. Lu Chen clearly remembered that the old dragon in front of him was once the mount of Xuanyuan, the human warrior god. The Xuanyuan sword in his hand is the weapon of Emperor Xuanyuan. This old dragon will definitely recognize the Xuanyuan sword in his hand. The moment Xuanyuan's sword appeared, the ancient dragon soul indeed became quiet. It looked at Lu Chen in shock, and said sadly, "This is Xuanyuan's sword. Why did Xuanyuan's sword appear in your hand? Did even Emperor Xuanyuan fall in that catastrophe?" Lu Chen pretended to be righteous and solemn, and said forcefully, "Since you know the Xuanyuan sword in my hand, you should also know my relationship with Emperor Xuanyuan. Xuanyuan's sword recognizes me as its master and entrusts Emperor Xuanyuan's destiny of saving the common people to me. And the purpose of my trip is to kill the remnants of the barbarians. Just now we captured his aura in the cave where you were sleeping. Have you already seen him?" Long Baiyu's clear water eyes made waves. "Barbarians? The barbarians are a clan of sinners imprisoned in the wilderness in the ancient martial arts world. 5,000 years ago, the barbarians launched a war with humans and monsters. However, he ultimately failed due to the joint efforts of humans and monsters, and was eventually imprisoned in the barbaric land of the ancient martial arts world, hoping to use the desolate power of the barbaric land to wipe out the barbarians. However, their vitality was too tenacious, and a small number of barbarians survived with their strong strength. There are only very few people who know about the barbarians, and the existence of the barbarians has become a taboo among the top families in the ancient martial arts world. How did Lu Chen know about their existence, and why did he want to kill the remnants of the barbarians? What is the connection between the remnant soul of the ancient dragon in front of me and the barbarians?" Naturally, Long Baiyu didn't know that all this was just a random fabrication by Lu Chen to win the trust of the ancient dragon's remnant soul. The dragon soul phantom trembled. "You mean those people just now are barbarians?" Lu Chen stared at the phantom of the dragon soul and said in a cold voice, "So, you have indeed seen them. Where are they?" "They escaped from the ancient martial arts world and came here. We were ordered by the family elders to kill them, but their aura completely disappeared from this cave. Do you know anything?" The dragon soul was silent and seemed to be trapped in deep self-doubt. It actually let the remnants of the barbarians run away and wanted to hand over its blood essence to them. If Lu Chen and Long Baiyu hadn't arrived in time, it almost became the eternal sinner of the dragon clan. The dragon soul regretted it and said in a hidden voice with guilt, "That barbarian boy has the blood of my dragon clan. I thought he was the destined person, so I just used my remaining strength to send them away from the Dragon Valley." Lu Chen was not surprised at all. He waved the Xuanyuan sword in his hand, glared at the remnant soul, and said angrily, "You let them go. Do you know what you did? If I remember correctly, your dragon clan seems to be the one who was the barbarians were destroyed, and now you actually help the remnants of the barbarians to escape. You really deserve death. Are you worthy of those clan members who died fighting for your dragon clan? Let me ask you, have you given him your essence and blood?" After scolding the ancient dragon Kanyan, Lu Chen asked about his worries. This was what Lu Chen was most worried about. If Chu Feng gets the dragon's blood, then everything he has done will be in vain. No. The barbarian sinner did not succeed. Damn it. How could a barbarian be so cunning and almost defraud my dragon clan's inheritance? The dragon soul was extremely angry, and its majestic and ancient voice was mixed with anger. It was almost deceived by a barbarian. It's just that dragon soul doesn't understand why the blood of the dragon clan appears in the barbarians. Which despicable tribesman ruined the bloodline of the dragon clan and gave birth to an heir with a barbarian? It was simply a shame for the dragon clan. Hearing this, Lu Chenxuan's heart finally relaxed. Fortunately, they arrived in time, and the ancient dragon's remnant soul did not have time to give the dragon's blood to Chu Feng. Long Baiyu's starry eyes narrowed slightly, and his eyes gradually deepened. The ancient dragon essence and blood that she cherished so much was in the dragon carcass in front of her. As long as you get it, you will definitely be able to break through the shackles of martial arts and break through again. Dragon Soul said happily. You too have the blood of dragon and phoenix. Maybe you are the destined people I am waiting for, but I don't have much time left with this regret, so let me do my best for you. The dragon soul's voice gradually became fainter, and a drop of pure dragon blood flew out from the dragon's skull. The rich aura hit his face, causing ripples in Long Bayu's simple eyes. Then, under the astonished gazes of the two people, the dragon soul phantom turned into a stream of light and shot into Lu Chen's forehead. Lu Chen was slightly stunned, then he covered his head with both hands, feeling a splitting headache that made him miserable. Old Long, you are despicable. If you want to pass on your inheritance to me, at least give me a hint and let me make some preparations. After the brief pain disappeared, a martial art that transcended the heavenly level, dragon art, appeared out of thin air in Lu Chen's mind. If you encounter barbarians in the future, please kill them all for me. I will be very grateful. The old and powerful voice echoed in the cave, and the echoes lasted for a long time. As the voice of the dragon soul disappeared, the entire dragon cave fell into deathly silence. Compared to Long Bayu's dragon bloodline, this dragon soul seemed to prefer the Xuanyuan sword in Lu Chen's hand, and chose to pass on its inheritance to Lu Chen. After all, as the mount of Emperor Xuanyuan, its affection for Emperor Xuanyuan is not comparable to that of a mere dragon bloodline. Lu Chen showed the Xuanyuan sword from the beginning, which was definitely a wise move. Lu Chen, did you already know that it was Xuanyuan's mount? Long Bayu crossed her arms across her chest and asked coldly, obviously jealous that Dragon Soul did not choose her. Seeing that Long Bayu saw through it, Lu Chen could only look at Long Bayu awkwardly and chuckled helplessly. I'm sorry, Long Bayu, it seems to trust me a little more. Seeing that Long Bayu didn't speak, Lu Chen's eyes fell on the crimson blood essence on the dragon's body. He slowly walked towards the dragon blood, thinking about how to distribute this drop of ancient dragon essence blood with Long Bayu. It's just that there is only one drop of dragon blood, how can it be enough for two people to share? When Lu Chen was still thinking, there was a crisp sound of swords coming from behind, and Long Bayu's silhouette appeared silently behind Lu Chen, and the Liuyan sword in his hand landed impartially on Lu Chen's shoulder. Lu Chen instantly understood what Long Bayu meant. The rabbit is dead and the dog is cooked, and the bird is gone and hidden in its bow. It's an eternal truth, after all, he underestimated Long Bayu's ruthlessness. Lu Chen paused and did not look back. He sneered and said, "What, Long Bayu, do you want to monopolize this drop of ancient dragon essence and blood by yourself? Your appetite is too big, right? Exclusive? Why do you mean exclusive? That dragon soul has clearly passed its inheritance to you. Are you still not satisfied, Lu Chen?" A light and cold voice came from behind Lu Chen. People are selfish, even the Valkyrie Long Bayu is no exception. You want to kill me? Lu Chen didn't feel any panic, but said calmly. I will not kill you. You brought me all the way here. I am very grateful to you, but this drop of dragon blood is very important to me. I will give you a reward that will satisfy you. I hope you don't mind what I did this time. I see. Lu Chen felt as if he had lost his way, but there was not much emotion in his eyes. Long Bayu's long eyelashes trembled slightly, and he put the dragon's blood into the jade bottle, then threw a white jade bottle to Lu Chen, turned around and said, "These pills are enough for you to break through to the 7th level martial emperor, so this is what I give you, a little compensation." Sorry Lu Chen, I have a reason to do this. Lu Chen did not pick up the jade bottle given by Long Bayu. The jade bottle rolled down to Lu Chen's feet. He lowered his eyes and said nothing, with mixed feelings in his heart. Was he abandoned by Long Bayu? The feeling of being abandoned is really uncomfortable. Lu Chen slowly raised his eyes and said quietly, Long Bayu, if you ask me for it, I may not be willing to give it to you, but you just took the dragon's blood from me in this way. Long Bayu did not turn around or say another word. Even she can't resist the temptation of dragon blood, let alone Lu Chen. Then Long Bayu turned into an ice rainbow and disappeared, leaving only Lu Chen's breath in the dragon cave. After Long Bayu left, without the illumination of the jade in her hand, the feeling of death and desolation in the dragon cave came to his face. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said to himself, Long Bayu, wait and see, don't cry when I hold you down and torture you. Ding! It was detected that the host intercepted the inheritance of Chu Feng's ancient dragon soul, and the reward is 200,000 life points. Ding! It is detected that Chu Feng, the son of destiny, has lost the essence and blood of the dragon god, and the reward is 1x the essence and blood of the divine phoenix. Lu Chen raised his eyes in shock. At first he thought he had heard wrong, until he opened the system space and saw that there was indeed a drop of pure divine phoenix blood there. When did this pull across system become so generous? He even gave him a drop of divine phoenix essence and blood at a time. What makes Lu Chen a little regretful is that it is not the blood essence of the ancient dragon. Lu Momo silently opened the system mall and found the ancient dragon's essence and blood. That drop of ancient dragon's essence and blood was actually worth 1 million life points. After a brief hesitation, Lu Chen finally exchanged 1 million life points for a drop of the ancient dragon's blood essence. Current destiny value: 350,000. Lu Chen opened his palms. In his left hand was the divine phoenix essence and blood, and in his right hand was the ancient dragon essence and blood. He decided to completely refine the 2 drops of essence and blood here. 3 days later, in the dark dragon cave, Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes as deep as the abyss and exhaled a breath of turbid air. The phoenix bloodline in Lu Chen's body became even more pure. Power of bloodline: divine phoenix bloodline, dragon god bloodline. Dragon god bloodline: powerful mental power, immune to all mental control. I finally refined 2 drops of essence and blood. I never expected that it would allow me to break through to the martial emperor. I am truly worthy of the essence and blood of dragon and phoenix. To me now, breaking through the realm is as easy as drinking water, Lu Chen murmured to himself. System: help me practice Dragon Ju and Dragon Phoenix Manual to great perfection. Yes, host. Lu Chen got a total of 2 fragments of the Dragon and Phoenix scripture. One was from Zhaolong's stone palace, and the other was given to him by the system. The 2 copies together were the complete Dragon and Phoenix scripture. Lu Chen secretly marveled. It was indeed the inheritance of the ancient dragon. Dragon secret can not only triple the user's mental power, but also make the user enter the Dragon Soul state. Dragon Soul state: strengthen the soul and greatly increase the explosive power of the warrior. It is no exaggeration to say that Dragon technique is simply more abnormal than Chu Feng's fiery yang technique. Lu Chen stood up and walked outside the dragon cave. It was early morning, and the deep and quiet dragon valley was filled with golden morning light. Because he had stayed in the dim dragon cave for too long, Lu Chen subconsciously blocked the morning light with his hands. After a long time, he gradually got used to it. Come over. There is still more than half a month until the Whirlpool Gate, the entrance to the ancient martial arts world, opens. During this time, we should go back to the Lu family first. I can't even remember how long it has been since I went back. I wonder if those old guys acted like monsters while I was away. The phoenix flames that ignited behind Lu Chen turned into fire wings, but the phoenix flames at this moment were hotter than before. This was naturally because the divine phoenix bloodline in Lu Chen's body was purer. The fire wings behind Lu Chen flapped violently, and he turned into a crimson stream of light and flew towards the ruins of the floating sea. With the powerful spiritual power of the dragon god's bloodline, he could clearly feel that he had become more sensitive to the surrounding environment, and he could clearly feel even the slightest movement. Lu Chen held his breath and began to search the ruins below with his soul thoughts, trying to find Dugu Shu's aura. Hard work paid off, and Lu Chen easily found Dugu Shu not far from the floating sea. Dugu Shu raised his turbid old eyes with a blank look on his face. An extremely powerful aura from the sky was shooting towards him. Dugu Shu adjusted the energy in his body and was ready to enter the battle at any time. But when he saw the person clearly, he lost his voice in surprise. That's Mr. Lu. How is this possible? How could he break through Emperor Wu in just half a month? Is this me dreaming? Lu Chen's figure fell away, and the gray cub howled, wagging its tail and stepped forward, rubbing against Lu Chen's legs. We haven't seen each other for almost half a month. But it still couldn't change Gray Cub's liking for him. Senior Dugu, you're fine, Lu Chen said with a smile. Dugu Shu moved the corners of his chapped lips and said sincerely, it seems that you have got a lot of opportunities in the ancient ruins. I am really envious. Lu Chen smiled softly, then threw the jade bottle given by Long Baiyu to Dugu Zan, and said, thank you so much for these days, Senior Dugu. Just think of it as a little bit of my love for you, and the heart-eating soul-eating Gu. It has been lifted for you. Dugu Zan took the jade bottle, his distracted eyes focused on Lu Chen, and he said excitedly, what, you helped me get rid of the heart-piercing soul-eating Gu planted in my body. Why does Senior Dugu want to give it a try? Dugu Zan hurriedly waved his hand and refused. Lu Chen has now broken through the martial emperor. Since he dares to remove the soul-eating Gu, it means that Lu Chen is not afraid of him at all. If Dugu Shu showed murderous intent towards him, he would probably die without a burial place, and he didn't want to experience the heartbreaking pain for even a second. In that case, Master Lu, I will leave this little guy to you. I will take my leave. Dugu Zan said hurriedly, fearing that Lu Chen would regret it. In this case, Dugixu and we will meet again later. After Dugu Shu left, Lu Chen knelt down and rubbed its little head. The little guy seemed to have grown up a little, and had already reached the level of a late third-order monster. It's just that the gray cub looks soft and waxy, and still has no deterrent effect. Lu Chen frowned slightly and asked in a deep voice, "By the way, system, do you have any props that can be used to store living creatures?" Although the moon-eating devil wolf became powerful as an adult, the gray cub was still a burden to Lu Chen. He couldn't always keep it with him, right? A light curtain appeared in front of Lu Chen's eyes, and the goods he needed were displayed on the light screen. Futian bead. The space forms a world of its own, containing abundant infuriating energy, which can store living things. Required destiny value. 100,000. Lu Chen exchanged it after a slight hesitation, and a simple and dark jade bead appeared in Lu Chen's palm. Current destiny value. 250,000. Little guy, you should stay in the world created by the Futian Pearl from now on. I will release you when you become stronger. After saying that, Lu Chen put the gray cub into the Futian Pearl. Then continued to rush towards the periphery of the ruins. A red stream of light pierced the sky, tearing the sky apart like a meteorite. That incomparable aura instantly attracted Yi Zili and others who were stationed in the ancient ruins. Yi Zili stood up with solemn eyes and said coldly, "Everyone, be alert, enter combat status." "It's the captain." Ji Wuchang and the others instantly became alert, and the violent energy in their bodies burst out without leaving any room. The terrifying aura caused ripples in the surrounding space. "Did you see clearly? What kind of monster is it?" Ji Wuchang was stunned for 2 seconds and then said, "The captain seems not to be a monster, but a human being." "Well?" Lu Chen sensed 6 majestic Zhenqi fluctuations in front of the ancient ruins through his strong mental power, and said happily, "I finally found you. I wonder if my father will be shocked again when he sees my strength later." "Captain, that seems to be Lu Chen." The red and fragrant beautiful eyes are flowing with blue waves, and the figure staring at the sky has red lips and said softly. Yi Zili, Master Shu Mi and others were all shocked and quickly rejected Hong Tianxiang's idea. Lu Chen was only in the early stage of martial arts, so how could he exude such a terrifying aura? The coercion of that figure was comparable to that of a powerful figure in the later stages of Emperor Wu. But it wasn't until they saw Lu Chen's face clearly that they were convinced that the aura was really coming from Lu Chen. Lu Chen slowly fell down and appeared in front of everyone. "Seniors, please forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. It turns out it was you, kid. I was so startled that I thought a monster had escaped from the depths of the ancient ruins." Man Yi crossed his thick arms in front of his chest, looked at Lu Shen and said roughly. Ji Wuchang still held the rusty iron sword in his arms, and the burning desire to fight burned in the depths of his eyes. He slowly clenched his fist and said, "I saw you right, Lu Chen. You have broken through from martial saint to martial emperor in just half a month. Now you dare to fight me. Get away." Hong Tianxiang stretched out her fair and slender jade legs from under the red skirt and kicked Ji Wuchang to the ground with a sudden kick. Hong Tianxiangdai frowned slightly and said softly, "Ji Wuchang, I warn you not to cause trouble. Go somewhere cool and stay there." Then Hong Tianxiang, under the astonished eyes of everyone, walked towards Lu Chen with lotus steps, stretched out her lotus arms to hug Lu Chen to her chest. The fragrance overflowed into Lu Chen's nose. He was slightly surprised and said, "Sister Tianxiang, you what's wrong? Little fool. Where have you been during this time? Do you know how worried I am about you?" Lu Chen broke away from Hong Tianxiang's warm and soft jade-like embrace, and briefly explained to everyone what happened during this period. She smiled softly and asked, "Sister Tianxiang, where is my father? Why didn't you see him?" Lu Zhanyuan, a few days ago the Lu family, came here alone and told Lu Zhanyuan that the Lu family was in trouble. I hope he can go back. Hong Tianxiang pursed her red lips lightly as she recalled. The Lu family is in trouble. Seniors, do you know what happened to the Lu family? Lu Chen frowned and said worriedly, Did what he worried about most happen? Duan Guhong raised the wine gourd in his hand above his head. After taking a sip of the turbid wine, he sneered. Don't you know what your kid has done? Is it because of me? What happened to the Lu family during my absence? Please tell me, senior. Lu Chen's eyes became solemn. Someone dared to come to his Lu family to act wild. They were simply seeking death. The elder of your Lu family said that two powerful men from the ancient martial arts world broke into your Lu family and wanted to see you. They claimed that if they don't see you within 10 days, they will destroy your entire Lu family. Think carefully about your recent past. Who have you offended? Duan Guhong said calmly with an indifferent expression. Someone from the ancient martial arts world. I understand, seniors and juniors, please take your leave first. Lu Chen turned around and left. He seemed to have the answer in his heart. From the Lu family, two strong demigods in black robes stood in the sky, looking at the elders of the Lu family below with stern eyes. Today is the last deadline for your Lu family to go. If you don't hand over the boy named Lu Chen, your whole Lu family will be destroyed. Lu Yuan's black pupils stared at the two figures in midair. Under the powerful chi of the two, many elders of the Lu family were so angry that they dared not speak out. Lu Zhanyuan said bravely, since you two are from the ancient martial arts world, you must also know the rules of the ancient martial arts world. This approach may violate the ancient martial arts world. Ha ha, ha ha ha. The two of them laughed wildly and interrupted Lu Zhanyuan's words. Rules? Our rules are rules. Now either hand over the boy named Lu Chen, or you will all be buried with him. A glimmer of gloom flashed in the eyes of the man in black robes, and black flames rolled in his hands. The dark flames burned wildly, and were so domineering that they could burn all things. In the horrified eyes of everyone, the man in black robes slapped a palm without reservation, and the palm print burning with strange black flames struck Lu Zhanyuan. Lu Zhanyuan's eyes turned pale with horror, and he hurriedly retreated, but the black flame was too fast, and before Lu Zhanyuan could react, it landed on his shoulder impartially. Lu Zhanyuan let out a muffled groan, and his body was shaken so much that he flew backwards several tens of meters, and a touch of sweetness overflowed from his throat. Zhan Yuan. The Lu family and elders rushed forward to check Lu Zhanyuan's injuries. I've given you the opportunity. It's your fault if you don't cherish it. It's your turn, Mo Qinheng, to kill them all for me. Huh? Are you ordering me, you bitch? Mo Chengshan, what qualifications do you have to order me? A man named Mo Qinheng said coldly with a deep frown. If you want to kill me, you have to kill me. I don't want to dirty my hands because of these ants. Mo Qinheng refused, saying that such a despicable ant was not worthy of letting him take action. Mo Qinheng, don't forget our purpose. Miss asked us to kill Lu Chen. If the mission fails, your life and mine may not be saved. Mo Chengshan's eyes grew colder and colder, daring to do such an outrageous thing to the young lady. That bastard named Lu Chen should be cut into pieces. Mo Qinheng's eyes were indifferent, and black flames rose from the black spear in his hand. He threw the black spear in his hand violently, and the black spear with an astonishing aura tore through the space like a broken bamboo, and stabbed directly at Elder Lu. Puff! Old 7. A shrill scream sounded, and the seventh elder of the Lu family fell to the ground. The black flames wrapped around the black spear burned violently, completely wiping out the seventh elder of the Lu family in just a few seconds, leaving only embers on the ground. Damn it, you damn bastard, I will kill you. Mo Qinheng sneered and looked at the people who didn't know whether to live or die. He raised his palm and slowly tightened it. The black spear wrapped with black flames appeared in his palm again. He swiped it suddenly, and a wave of pitch black flames rippled out, directly sending the elders of the Lu family flying several meters away. Mo Qinheng's figure appeared in front of everyone like a ghost. He dropped the black spear in his hand with an indifferent expression. After a scream, the fourth elder of the Lu family died. Where is Lu Chen? Mo Qinheng put the tip of his spear against the chest of the fifth elder of the Lu family and asked. I don't know. Mo Qinheng snorted coldly, what a bunch of useless trash, and then raised his spear again. Another Lu elder fell. Old guy, do you know? Mo Qinheng looked at the third elder Lu Zhanan and asked. Lu Zhanan made a gritting sound in his mouth, and the evil aura in his eyes was surging. He stared at Mo Qinheng and sneered. I don't know where Lu Chen is, your father. If you have the guts, give me a good time. If looks could kill, Mo Qinheng would have died tens of thousands of times at this moment. Even a mere ant dares to be so arrogant. Since you are seeking death, I will fulfill your long-cherished wish. Remember that the person who killed you is named Mo Qinheng. Just when Mo Qinheng was about to kill Lu Jianan, a voice as silent as thunder came from above the Lu family. How dare a rat break into my Lu family without kneeling down and confessing? A golden long sword rippling with vertical and horizontal sword intent cut through the space and shot straight towards the deep black spear in Mo Qinheng's hand. The Xuanyuan sword and Yuan's black spear collided fiercely, making a fierce collision sound, dazzling sparks flying, and Mo Qinheng was so shocked that he almost couldn't hold the black spear in his hand. Mo Qinheng took 2 steps back to stabilize his figure. He raised his deep black eyes in shock, his eyes cold to the bone. He never expected that someone in this secular world could force him back. Wait, how is that possible? Emperor Wu. Mo Qinheng's eyes were full of rage, and he was actually forced to take 3 steps back by a martial emperor. If this spreads out, he will definitely become a laughing stock in the ancient martial arts world. Above the sky, Lu Chen proudly stared at Mo Qinheng and Mo Chengshan below. There was a faint cold light in his eyes, and the anger between his brows was evident. I heard that you two are looking for me. Lu Chen's emotionless voice came and fell into everyone's ears. The Lu family and elders were in an uproar because the aura exuding from Lu Chen's body had far surpassed theirs. They couldn't help but wonder. Could it be that Lu Chen had already broken through Emperor Wu? But so what if they were Emperor Wu? The 2 people who wanted to kill Lu Chen were 8th-grade demigods. Lu Chen's appearance now is tantamount to seeking death. Lu Jianan roared. Master, leave quickly. They are here to kill you. Lu Chen sneered and said, Kill me. I want to see how capable you two are. How dare you come to my Lu family to run wild? Since you are here, keep your head. Mo Qinheng raised his pupils contemptuously, looking at the figure in the air with cold eyes. His voice was hoarse. So, you are Lu Chen? You are so arrogant? Mo Qinheng let out a low roar, displaying his martial arts demigod strength to the fullest. Since you came to the door yourself, then please die obediently. I saw Mo Qinheng's right arm suddenly swinging, throwing the spear burning with strange black flames into the sky. His figure appeared on the side of the black spear like a ghost. He was holding the black spear in his hand, and the tip of the spear was cold and cold. The light penetrated the space, trying to tear Lu Chen's chest open. There was a sneer on Lu Chen's lips. If you want to kill me, you must have the strength. Dragon secret. A white light flashed in Lu Chen's eyes, and then his aura rippled like a tide, and destructive power exploded from his body. In just one breath, Lu Chen's aura directly improved by a large level, enough to rival an average 8th-grade demigod. With the blessing of the Dragon Soul State, Lu Chen's mental power has been increased 3 times. Mo Qinheng's every move seems to have been slowed down 10 times in Lu Chen's eyes. Surprise flashed across Mo Qinheng's deep eyes. The mere Emperor Martial actually made him feel a sense of intimidation that only an 8th-grade demigod could have. But so what, he is just a martial emperor after all. Under the demigods, all are ants. Weird black flames spread from the spear in Mo Qinheng's hand. The temperature between the whole world suddenly increased. Even the space began to distort. Even the true energy between heaven and earth was touching the black flames. It was burned away in an instant. Spear of black flame. Mo Qinheng's eyes were filled with evil aura, and the black spear in his hand transformed into an overwhelming spear shadow, stabbing towards Lu Chen's body. The black flames couldn't help but make Lu Chen's pupils shrink suddenly. Even though he now carries the blood of Shenfeng and is immune to all fire damage, the unknown black flames still make him feel a trace of unknown uneasiness. The black flame wrapped around the spear seems to be able to swallow the true energy. Fengqi Sky Dance. The loud cry of the phoenix sounded, and the temperature between heaven and earth became even hotter. A flaming phoenix appeared behind Lu Chen. The phoenix quickly folded its wings and wrapped Lu Chen in the phoenix flames. The sharp spear shadow slammed into the fire wings, and the black flames enveloped the phoenix flames. The 2 powerful forces were eroding each other. Eventually, the black flames on the spear shadow were gradually swallowed up by the phoenix flames and dimmed. Mo Qinheng was extremely angry when he saw that his attack was defeated by Lu Chen. The black spear he held tightly in his hand pierced the fire wings of the phoenix, and a crack spread from the fire wings on Lu Chen's chest. Mo Qinheng suddenly raised his spear, and the phoenix fire wings were completely torn apart. The spear in his hand penetrated deep into the phoenix flames and aimed at Lu Chen's heart. Lu Chen made the two of them wait for a full month before he showed up. If it weren't for forcing Lu Chen to show up, they would have slaughtered the Lu family long ago. Today, it is difficult to resolve the hatred without killing Lu Chen. Just when Mo Qinheng thought he had succeeded, a deep dragon roar sounded in his ears, causing his soul to shake slightly, and his eyes even briefly blurred for a second. This can be regarded as the power brought to Lu Chen by the dragon god's bloodline. Through the breath of the real dragon, he can temporarily frighten the enemy. Lu Chen took this opportunity, gathered his true energy in his hands, and struck Mo Qinheng's chest hard with his fist wrapped in phoenix flames. Mo Qinheng's figure flew out. He suddenly came back to his senses and steadied himself in midair. He endured the severe pain in his chest and roared, "Damn bastard, he used such despicable means. Why are you being mean? If an 8th grade demigod can't even do anything to a martial emperor, then there's no need for you to live." Lu Chen sneered and said every word with heart-wrenching words. Mo Qinheng's eyes were splitting as he was humiliated by a little martial emperor. Mo Qinheng laughed wildly and said with sinister eyes, "Ha ha ha. What a sharp-tongued brat, let's see if I don't tear your mouth apart today." Seeing that Mo Qinheng seemed to be outmatched, Mo Chengshan said, "Mo Qinheng, I'm here to help you. You and I will work together to kill this kid." Mo Qinheng ignored Mo Chengshan. His pupils were as scarlet as blood, and he growled, "Mo Chengshan, get out of here. This guy is my opponent. If I don't kill him with my own hands today, I will no longer have any face. Return to the ancient martial arts world." A mighty demigod could actually be defeated in the hands of a mere Emperor Wu. If he didn't kill Lu Chen himself, this incident would undoubtedly become a stain of shame for his life. A martial emperor can let me use this move. You will be proud even if you die. Next, I will let you feel my true strength. Mo Qinheng condensed his fingers on the sword and suddenly cut his palm. A trace of blood appeared in his right palm. The blood slid down his palm and dyed his right palm red. Mo Qinheng grasped the spear wrapped with black flames and smeared his own blood on the tip of the spear. The black flames on the spear turned into a strange red color, and the bloody aura emanated from the spear. "Come out, the world becomes dim at this moment. Soul-destroying spear, tremble, you humble ant." Mo Chengshan looked at Mo Qinheng, who was going crazy, frowning and thinking to himself, "Is this kid named Lu Chen that strong? He can actually push Mo Qinheng to this point. It's not easy. Mo Qinheng should be able to easily deal with Lu Chen next, but he's probably going to have to lie in bed for a few days." "Oh, really? As the saying goes, courtesy reciprocates, so let me let you feel my true strength." Mo Qinheng was shocked. Could it be that this kid still had a trump card? How can this be? Lu Chen raised his eyes and stared at the spear filled with bloody aura. The true energy in his body surged out, and he yelled, "Dragon and Phoenix strike." A low roar of dragons sounded, followed by a loud roar of phoenixes, and the sound of dragons and phoenixes singing together filled the sky. Lu Chen punched out with both fists. An illusory dragon shadow flew out of his left arm, and a fiery phoenix flew out of his right arm. The two violent forces set off a violent storm and violently crashed into Mo Qinheng's body. The dragon and phoenix strike is the first form of the dragon and phoenix scripture. The destructive power of the two is enough to destroy everything in the world. A bloody battle in the 8 wastes. Mo Qinheng formed a seal on his palm, and the blood seal condensed from his chest. He stared with scarlet eyes at the two true dragons and true phoenixes running in front of him with majestic true energy. Although they were just phantoms condensed by the true energy, the terrifying pressure was so overwhelming that Mo Qinheng couldn't breathe. Mo Qinheng's eyes were ferocious, and the spear in his hand filled with strange blood-evil aura expanded to 100 times its size. He threw it violently, and the huge spear penetrated the phoenix shadow and shot toward Lu Shen's body. Seeing that the phantom of the phoenix was pierced, Mo Qinheng thought he had a chance of victory. He curved his lips and laughed wildly. "Soul-destroying spear, break his defense for me." Lu Chen said coldly, "It's too early to be happy." In Mo Qinheng's shocked eyes, the illusory dragon shadow was wrapped around the spear, and the majestic chi spurted out from his mouth. The strange black flames spread to the dragon shadow's body, and the dragon shadow looked up to the sky and roared. A roar that resounded through the sky penetrated the golden gravel and was deafening. The dragon shadow used its huge body to strangle the spear. In just 3 breaths, the indestructible spear was directly broken by it. The soul-destroying spear broke, and a mouthful of blood overflowed from Mo Chinheng's mouth. It seemed that he had some special connection with the soul-destroying spear. The moment the soul-destroying spear was broken, his breath quickly weakened. There is no longer that overwhelming feeling of oppression at the beginning. Kill me! Lu Chen let out a roar and raised his hands, and the illusory dragon shadow slammed into Mo Chinheng in midair. Under its tyrannical attack, Mo Chinheng turned into a meteorite and fell, slamming into the ground. Middle. On the ground, a huge spider web cracked. In the middle of the crack, Mo Chinheng stood up, looked at Lu Shen with sinister eyes, and said grimly, "I really underestimated you, such a weird martial arts. It seems like this killing you is really too cheap for you. I changed my mind. Hand over your martial arts skills, maybe I can spare your life." Lu Chen chuckled and said, "Are you kidding me? You don't seem to understand the situation yet. Now kneel down and beg me. I can let you die more happily. Mo Chengshan and I will kill this kid together." Mo Chinheng jumped suddenly, his figure appeared in the air like a ghost, and said excitedly. The corner of Mo Chengshan's mouth couldn't help but twitch slightly. He didn't know who told him to get out just now. Mo Chengshan threatened with a sinister smile. "Young man, hand over all your martial arts skills, and I can kill just one of you. If you don't obey, I won't let go of any of your Lu family members." "Oh, if you want my martial arts skills, the prerequisite is that you can escape from my hands alive." Lu Chen laughed sarcastically, as the true energy circulated in his body, and the blazing phoenix flames covered his body. "Come together, don't give him a chance to breathe." "Good." Mo Chinheng and Mo Chengshan attacked Lu Chen in unison, with the strange and heart-stopping black flames burning in their palms. Lu Chen's expression became a little serious. If there was only one 8th grade demigod, he could deal with it with ease, but if there were 2, it would be very difficult for him. He could only dodge the attacks of the 2 without letting them go. Their attacks did no harm to themselves. Above the sky, 3 figures intersect. One of Mo Chinheng and Mo Chengshan was responsible for the attack, and the other was responsible for the defense. They cooperated so well that Lu Chen couldn't find any flaws for a while. Lu Chen frowned deeply. If he continued like this, he might be killed by the 2 of them. Everyone's eyes were focused on the 3 figures in the sky. What should Lu Jianan do now? Those 2 despicable and shameless bastards have no moral ethics and bully the minority. Lu Tianeng, the second elder of the Lu family, said anxiously with his cloudy old eyes full of resentment. "Damn it. This duel is no longer something we can participate in. If we approach rashly, I'm afraid we will be torn into pieces by the storm in an instant." Lu Jianan said with despair, "If this continues, Lu Chen will definitely lose." Lu Zhanyuan coughed lightly and said with breathless anger, "Xuanyuan's sword. Give Xuanyuan's sword to Lu Chen." Lu Jianan looked at the Xuanyuan sword not far away. He gritted his teeth, stepped forward to pick up the Xuanyuan sword and threw it into the air. "Master, take the sword." The Xuanyuan sword rippled with true energy fluctuations like a tidal wave. The Xuanyuan sword pierced the air, and the crisp sound of the sword roared straight into the sky and resounded throughout the world. Lu Chen stared, and suddenly raised his arm to hold the Xuanyuan sword in his hand. The sword energy as deep as a river roared horizontally. As Lu Chen's arm fell gently, the sharp sword energy that could not be described in words firmly locked Mo Chinheng and the 2 of them. "Stop!" The galloping sword shadow tore towards the 2 of them. The expressions of both Mo Chinheng and Mo Chinheng changed slightly. Not only did this kid have weird martial arts, but now even his weapons were so evil. If we could learn from Lu Chen how he obtained so many treasures, it would be a worthwhile trip. After Mo Chinheng and Mo Chengshan looked at each other, they leaned together in understanding. The 2 men suddenly cut their palms, and under the control of their thoughts, the blood gathered together. In the eyes of everyone, a river of blood filled with evil aura rose up into the sky, blocking the 2 of them, trying to control the vertical and horizontal sword energy. Resist. Destroying ripples of true energy shook from the sky, and the bloody energy filled the space between heaven and earth. The river-like sword energy and the turbid blood river converged, and the 2 mutually incompatible true energy exploded. Boom! Under the huge bombardment, the 3 figures in the sky flew backwards. Lu Jianan and others looked at this scene in stunned silence. This was a sight they had never seen before. Is this really a duel between warriors? The earth is covered with desolation, and there are deep ravines and cracks on the ground. Many of the Lu family's pavilions were reduced to ashes, and the better ones were turned into ruins. Lu Chen's face turned pale and weak. He covered his chest and stood up from the ruins. He was now at the end of his strength. Lu Chen could only pray silently that Mo Qinheng and Mo Chengshan had died in his hands, otherwise he would be the next to die. His abyss-like cold eyes searched for traces of Mo Qinheng and Mo Chengshan. Under the ruins, he reached out a palm, followed by the sound of wild laughter. Ha ha, ha ha ha. I didn't expect that there would be such a monster in the secular world. It makes me reluctant to kill you. Mo Qinheng and the two climbed up from under the rubble, the disdain in their eyes turned into a hint of admiration. Mo Qinheng stood up with a sluggish expression. Compared to Mo Qinheng, Mo Chengshan's condition was much better. Boy, you are at the end of your strength now. If you hand over your martial arts skills, I can show mercy and let your family members go. Mo Chengshan said with disheveled hair and extremely gloomy eyes. Lu Chen smiled faintly. Let go of my family members? Are you talking nonsense to me? At this moment, Lu Chen's hand holding the Xuanyuan sword kept trembling slightly. The vertical and horizontal sword energy drained all the true energy from his body, and now even his breathing became weak. Lu Chen's eyes were extremely cold and he sneered. If you want to take away my martial arts skills, you can try it and see if you have that ability. The corners of Mo Chengshan's mouth couldn't help but twitch, and veins popped up on his neck. His face was ferocious, and his figure rushed towards Lu Chen. Damn boy, stop pretending to me, see if I'm not useless today, you. At the critical moment, the Xuanyuan sword in Lu Chen's hand buzzed and suddenly broke away from his hand. A more powerful sword energy rippled out from the surface of the Xuanyuan sword. It was more domineering and incomparable than the sword energy released by Lu Chen, rival. There was a hint of horror in the depths of Mo Chengshan's eyes. How is it possible? How is it possible that he still has the energy to fight again? Big bloody demonic palm. Mo Chengshan became extremely solemn, and he roared angrily. The rich blood evil energy emitted from Mo Chengshan's palm, and the heart-stopping true energy fluctuation swept away like blood mist, filling the world. A huge blood-colored hand tore through the space and slammed towards Lu Chen's frail figure. The sword energy filled the vast sky and earth, and the dazzling sword light soared into the sky, trying to pierce the sky. The wind swept through the remaining clouds, and the bright sword light carried the devastating sword energy and swept out towards Mo Chengshan's chest. Under the Zhongneng sword chi, the bloody palm disappeared in an instant and turned into a pool of blood mist. The sword chi continued to rage and its power continued unabated. After the Xuanyuan sword penetrated Mo Chengshan's chest, it went straight towards Mo Qinheng behind him. Shoot away. In the horrified eyes of the two men, a gorgeous blood flower burst out from their chests. Mo Chengshan and the two men fell to the ruins at their feet with a painful cry. After Xuanyuan's sword dispersed all the sword light, it returned to Lu Chen's hand. Lu Chen's deep cold eyes looked in the direction of the sword pavilion and murmured to himself. Master Jian, I knew you wouldn't leave my Lu family alone. Regardless. Anyway, thank you for coming to the rescue. Lu Chen looked in the direction of the Lujia Zhonghe, clasping his hands and expressing sincere gratitude. In the end, Lu Chen made the right bet. The ancient sword god used the Xuanyuan sword again. Although he did not hold it, it was enough to prove that the ancient sword god had not completely abandoned the world. In the sword pavilion, the ancient sword god had a complicated expression and said, Linger, I still can't completely put down the sword in my heart for you. Maybe I was wrong all along. Ha ha, ha ha ha. I don't know what happened, but the head of the family won. Lu Jianan laughed wildly and said, Damn you bastard, this is the price for breaking into my Lu family. Lu Zhanyuan looked at Xuanyuan's sword in a daze and murmured to himself. It was Lord Jian who saved Lu Chen, it was he who saved my Lu family. Lu Jianan pulled his lips and said, That bullshit sword master. That bullshit ancient sword god. If he had taken action earlier, my Lu family would not have lost 3 elders. Don't talk nonsense, third brother. We can't speculate on the thoughts of the ancient sword god. Lu Tianeng, the second elder of the Lu family, scolded, not allowing Lu Jianan to continue talking. Lu Jianan gritted his teeth and swallowed back the anger in his chest. Although he was very annoyed, he also knew that the ancient sword god was definitely not someone he could offend. The reputation of being able to defeat 1,000,000 divisions with one sword is never a joke. On top of the ruins, Lu Chen staggered towards Mo Chengshan holding the Xuanyuan sword in his hand. At this moment, Mo Chengshan was crawling on the ruins like a dead dog. The only thing that could move in his body were his eyes. Mo Qinheng was even worse. He passed out and was probably no different from a dead person. Lu Chen sneered and said, "I won in the end. Our Lu family has thousands of years of foundation. How can we destroy it at your request?" Mo Chengshan let out a deep roar. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." "You still want to kill me now? I don't know what that idiot Lu Wanqing is thinking about letting you two losers kill me." "Shut up. You are a despicable person. You don't deserve to mention the lady's name, and the lady's surname is Mo." Mo Chengshan's eyes were filled with blood and he scolded with all his strength. If the Long family had not provoked a dispute with the Feng family, the Mo family would not have sent Lu Wanqing to the secular world. As a result, the Long family had no intention of letting the Mo family go, and pursued them all the way to the secular world. The Mo family's guards hid Lu Wanqing in a cave in the ancient ruins, and risked their lives to lure the Long family away. Later, Lu Wanqing was picked up by Lu Zhanyuan, who was training in the ancient ruins at the time, and took the Lu family back. Over the years, the Mo family has never given up looking for Lu Wanqing. Emperor Tian has paid off and they finally found Lu Wanqing. However, her cultivation was ruined and her legs were disabled. She is afraid that she will spend her life in a wheelchair. The head of the Mo family was furious and ordered the two of them to kill the culprit who caused all this. Tisk, tisk, tisk. It's a pity that you didn't have the chance to see with your own eyes the day I destroyed the Mo family. As soon as the words changed, Lu Chen continued, "But don't worry, I will not let anyone from the Mo family go. They will all go to hell to accompany you." Lu Chen raised the Xuanyuan sword in his hand, and a bloodstain like a ravine appeared on Mo Chengshan's neck. After a few seconds, Mo Chengshan's eyes completely lost their life. After killing Mo Qinheng and Mo Chengshan, many elders of the Lu family hurriedly stepped forward and supported the exhausted Lu Chen. Lu Zhanan asked weakly, "Master, are you on par with 8th grade demigods? Have you broken through yet, demigod?" Lu Chen rolled his eyes at the old boy Lu Zhanan, and instead of answering his question, asked, "During the time I left, the Ling family and the Shao family didn't act like monsters, right?" Lu Zhanan chuckled and said, "Family master, I followed your instructions and spread the news of the Shao family's comeback to the Ling family. The Ling family quickly targeted the Shao family. Family master, you must not have guessed that Shao Yang, the then head of the Shao family, actually you are still alive, and you have broken through the half-step martial emperor. No wonder I dared to be so arrogant and sent people to assassinate you." However, Shao Yang was eventually destroyed by the Ling family's martial emperor. Lu Chen paused thoughtfully. Everything was in his calculations. With the support of the two elders, Lu Zhanyuan came to Lu Chen. He looked at Lu Chen with joy and laughed heartily. "In just a few days, you have made a breakthrough again. God bless my Lu family." Lu Zhanyuan has become accustomed to Lu Chen's breakthrough speed. "Dad, are you not injured?" Lu Chen asked with a frown. "It's okay, it's just a minor injury. You can recover after a while of rest." Lu Zhanyuan chuckled and shook his head. If Lu Chen hadn't appeared in time, the Lu family's 1,000-year-old foundation would have been destroyed. And he, Lu Zhanyuan, will inevitably become the sinner of the Lu family, and the Lu family will become the talk of the world. Yanjing, Su family. Su Haoran pushed Su Shengyu who was sitting in a wheelchair, and a dark figure knelt in front of the two of them. Su Shengyu said coldly, "So, has the Lu family been wiped out by that person from the ancient martial arts world?" These 2 days, the two people from the ancient martial arts world have been searching for Lu Chen all over Yanjing, causing the whole city of Yanjing to be filled with panic. The black figure raised his head and said, "Master, according to reliable information, the head of the Lu family, Lu Chen, came back within the agreed time. However, Lu Chen did not die, but the two people from the ancient martial arts world disappeared mysteriously. I guess that it is very likely that Lu Chen will counterattack." "What did you say?" Su Shengyu's old eyes flashed with horror. How could the two warriors in the ancient martial arts world who could compete with and crush the Lu family die in the Lu family? Could it be the work of the ancient sword god? No, if the ancient sword god was born, why did he wait until now? Su Shengyu shook his head in the negative, and a bold guess flashed through his mind. Wouldn't Lu Chen already have the power to rival a demigod? Lu Chen's growth was obvious to all. In just a few months, he went from a second-level warrior to a fifth-level warrior. Now, Lu Chen has disappeared for a while, isn't that possible? Su Shengyu turned to look at Su Haoran behind him and said involuntarily, "Go find Su Beizi immediately and follow me to the Lu family to marry Mr. Lu." "Dad, didn't you agree not to talk about this matter?" "You idiot, I have already decided on this matter. If you dare to stop me again, don't blame me for denying your son." Su Shengyu was furious. This was a rare opportunity for his Su family and he must not miss it. Outside the Lu family's sword pavilion, Lu Chen respectfully walked into the sword pavilion, while a group of Lu family elders were waiting respectfully outside the sword pavilion. Lu Chen stared at the old man in coarse cloth holding a broom in the distance, stepped forward and bowed. "Master Jian, thank you for your help yesterday, I am very grateful." Master Jian raised his bright head indifferently, and said gently as always, "Master, you are here again. I wonder what sword you want to borrow this time?" Lu Chen had long been accustomed to the fact that the ancient sword god pretended to be confused. He replied, "Master Jian, although I don't know your past, but your blind escaping from reality is not an option after all. I hope you can let go of the past, I just hope you can bounce back from the past. Dragon Kingdom needs you." "Have you finished speaking, Master? If there is nothing important, please don't disturb my Qingshu." Master Jian said calmly. This was the first time in his life that he was taught a lesson by a junior. "No, it's the second time." Lu Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head, as if he had expected this outcome. Lu Chen slowly said, "Since Mr. Jian you still don't want to be born, then I will take my leave. Mr. Jian will give you a message. Don't admonish the past, but you can still pursue those who come." After Lu Chen left, there was only the sound of sweeping the floor in the huge sword pavilion, and the old man's soft murmur. "It's good that you can't remonstrate in the past, but you can still chase after those who come." Outside the sword pavilion, Lu Jianan blew his beard and glared. "Master, is that old guy pretending to be dead again?" As soon as Lu Jianan said these words, the air suddenly felt like death. Several eyes stared at him, as if they wanted to skin him alive. "Lu Jianan, if you are dissatisfied with Master Jian, you can go to the sword pavilion and complain in front of Master Jian. Don't even think about hurting us." Seeing that he was the target of public criticism, Lu Jianan quickly changed the subject and said, "Master, that's not what I meant. By the way, Master, the master of the Su family, Su Shengyu, wants to see you." "What's that old guy Su Shengyu doing here?" Lu Chenqing frowned and thought, wondering why Su Shengyu would visit at this time. Previously, because of Mo Qinheng, the major families in Yanjing were eager to completely cut off their relationship with the Lu family to avoid setting themselves up for fire. Now the Su family is on the cusp of the storm and is visiting the Lu family. What kind of medicine is sold in Su Shengyu's gourd? Where is Su Shengyu now? The meeting hall of my Lu family. Okay, I understand, please step back first and I will go meet him in person. After Lu Chen finished speaking, his figure disappeared like a phantom, and there were ripples in the air. That was the only proof that Lu Chen had been here. In the Lu family meeting hall, Su Shengyu looked at Su Beizi lovingly. At this moment, Su Beizi's eyes were full of water, and her pink and white face seemed to be dripping with water. She lowered her head in shame, not knowing what she was thinking. Su Shengyu comforted her softly. "Bai Ji, I know all about your little thoughts about Lu Chen. If you don't want to miss Lu Chen, you must seize the opportunity. Do you remember everything I taught you on the way here?" Su Beizi's childish pink face was full of hesitation, and she seemed to have not yet made up her mind. She pursed her pink lips and said, "Grandpa, if I do this, will brother Lu Chen hate me?" "Huh? How could that brat Lu Chen hate you? I'm afraid it's too late for him to be happy." Su Shengyu stroked his gray beard, as if everything was under his control. "Grandpa Su, what are you talking about?" Lu Chen's voice sounded suddenly, and Su Shengyu had to restrain his expression and said, "Ha ha ha, I haven't seen you for many days, Kid Lu. Don't you know you should come and visit me, a bad old man like me?" "I'm sorry, Grandpa Su. Something unexpected happened to the Lu family recently, and I had to deal with it personally. I hope Grandpa Su can bear with it more. That brat has a way of talking glibly. Do you know how much Bai Ji misses you?" Su Shengyu said seriously. "Huh? Bai Ji? Why are you here too?" Su Beizi raised her glass-like eyes, stared at Lu Chen and said quietly, "Brother Lu Chen, why didn't you tell me when you left, which made me wait for you for a long time?" Lu Chen touched the back of his head and didn't know how to explain it to Su Beizi. He was really anxious to leave at that time, and even Su Beizi forgot to tell him. Lu Chen asked, "I wonder what Grandpa Su wants from me. It's not that I'm looking for you, but this girl Bai Ji is looking for you. After she heard that you were back, she insisted that I take her to find you. Lu Chen, you should also know that Bai Ji likes you." Lu Chen naturally knew that Su Beizi liked him. But what surprised him was how did Su Shengyu, an old wall lamp, do it without blushing and saying such arrogant words. "Are you really not ashamed at all?" Su Beizi's face turned red. She tugged on Su Shengyu's robe with her bare hands. Her lips trembled slightly and said, "Grandpa, don't say any more." An awkward atmosphere filled the air. Su Shengyu smiled humorously and said, "You guys talk slowly, and I, a bad old man, won't disturb you here. Bai Ji, just follow what Grandpa taught you, and you must seize the opportunity." Su Shengyu rolled the wheelchair with both hands and hurriedly left the Lu family meeting hall. Seeing Su Shengyu leaving, Su Beizi dared to raise her head, staring at Lu Chen with her shining eyes, and said in a soft voice as soft as a mosquito, "Brother Lu Chen, don't listen to Grandpa's nonsense. In fact, Lu Chen boldly touched Su Beizi's little head and joked, "I understand, actually you don't like me at all?" "Ah, that's not it. In fact, I like Brother Lu Chen the most." At this moment, a blush spread on Su Beizi's pink cheeks. Then under Lu Chen's surprised eyes, Su Beizi gently stood on her tiptoes, and her rosy lips were printed on Lu Chen's lips. Lu Chen was stunned for 2 seconds, then stepped forward. After a long time, the lips parted. Su Beizi buried her head in Lu Chen's chest, and Lu Chen said softly, "After I finish settling my affairs, will you marry me?" Su Beizi's clear eyes turned and she lowered her head shyly, not daring to look into Lu Chen's eyes. She said, "Well, no matter what Brother Lu Chen wants me to do, I will agree. I just hope that Brother Lu Chen won't lie to me, because I will believe whatever you say. Then let's pull the hook." Good, if it were before, for Su Beizi's safety. Lu Chen would reject her without hesitation. He didn't want Su Beizi to get hurt in any way because of him. Because at that time, he was not strong enough to protect Su Beizi. But now it was different. If he wanted to kill Chu Feng, it would be as easy as crushing a bug. As long as Chu Feng dares to come, he will die without a burial place. How about Bai Ji, using the method Grandpa taught you, did you manage to defeat Mr. Lu? After seeing Su Beizi come out of the Lu family meeting hall, Su Shengyu licked his chapped lips and asked anxiously, "I'm so embarrassed. Grandpa, let's go home quickly." A flash of doubt flashed in Su Shengyu's eyes. "You are making it difficult for me, Grandpa, to guess." After Su Beizi left, Lu Chen frowned and thought to himself. Then he took out several pills that exuded a strong medicinal fragrance from the system's space. This was the compensation Long Baiyu had given him before. At that time, he gave part of it to Du Shu and kept a few for himself. These pills should be enough for the elders of the Lu family to break through Emperor Wu. After Lu Chen distributed the elixir to Lu Jianan and others, Lu Chen was not disappointed. All 7 elders achieved breakthroughs overnight. The stronger Lu Tianeng and Lu Jianan directly broke through Emperor Wu. The rest of the elders could barely reach the half-step martial emperor level. But the remaining medicinal power was enough for them to break through Emperor Wu within a year. For them now, it is only a matter of time before they can break through Emperor Wu. "Thank you, Master." Lu Jianan and others expressed gratitude that there is such a magical elixir in the world. Lu Chen nodded and said nothing more. These pills were of little use to him, but to a warrior like Lu Jianan who was stuck on the edge of the martial emperor, they were simply divine items. "Lu Jianan, in a few days I will leave the Lu family again and go to the ancient martial arts world to find opportunities for breakthrough. During my absence, you will still be in charge of the Lu family for me." "Don't worry, Master, I understand what to do." Ancient ruins in an ice and snow mountain range. The Kangshan mountain is covered with snow, and the sky is brightly lit to the south. In the snowy area, there is a rainbow light like a meteor, passing through this pure world of ice and snow at an extremely fast speed. He looks around, as if he is looking for something. The night was bright and white, and there was only a round wheel like white jade in the distant sky, emitting the bright moonlight. Ice and snow were flying. Between the 2 foothills of ice and snow, a vortex slowly opened. The vortex swallowed the surrounding ice and snow. The moment it touched the vortex, the ice and snow melted. Lu Chen's eyes were focused on the whirlpool door, and he said thoughtfully, "This should be the passage to the ancient martial arts world, right?" Just when Lu Chen was about to enter the ancient martial arts world through the whirlpool gate, a killing cry suddenly came from the whirlpool. "He wants to enter the secular world through the whirlpool gate, don't let him escape. Brother, please stop chasing me. I was really wrong, just spare me. Ji Shuang, you bastard. If you dare to steal my money, you'd better pray that you don't fall into my hands, otherwise I will break your legs." As soon as he finished speaking, ripples appeared in the whirlpool gate, and several figures flew out from the deep hole. The person running at the front was a young boy, followed closely behind him were 3 strong men with strong backs and strong waists. The big sword in the hands of the big men shone with a cold light. From the auras they exuded, it can be inferred that the young man named Ji Shuang has the strength of Emperor Wu. The 3 people behind him were all martial emperors like Ji Shuang. Lu Chen stood on the top of the snow peak and watched all this silently. He had no habit of meddling in other people's business. Lu Chen also learned from their conversation that the person named Ji Shuang seemed to have stolen the money and belongings of several people behind him, and was therefore pursued. Ji Shuang seemed to notice that Lu Chen was watching him. He suddenly turned around and said jokingly, "You are finished. My brother is here to help me. Just wait to die." This kid actually had a helper, and he chopped off Ji Shuang's hand along with him. "Brother, help me hold them off. I'm leaving first. Let's meet at the same place," Ji Shuang shouted to Lu Chen. There was a faint cold light in Lu Chen's eyes. He and Ji Shuang were strangers to each other. This guy dared to use himself as a gunman. He was really looking for death. "Leave me alone," Lu Chen roared loudly, and a wisp of enchanting phoenix flames slowly rose from Lu Chen's palm. In the snowstorm, a giant bird burning with flames spread its wings. Under the control of Lu Chen's thoughts, the phoenix fire shadow moved towards Ji Shuang's shadow. Smash it. Hearing only a sad scream, Ji Shuang fell in the snow as if he had been hit hard. He stood up in pain and wanted to run, but Lu Chen had already appeared in front of him, with the Xuanyuan sword pressed against his neck. As long as he dares to move again, Lu Chen will definitely kill him without hesitation. "Brother, I was wrong. It turns out that you are in the same group. I will return the money to you and treat me like a piece of shit." Ji Shuang looked down at the golden sword on her neck and begged bitterly, not to mention how humble she was. The mighty Emperor Wu could survive to the point of relying on pickpocketing. This Ji Shuang is also an out-and-out waste. I really don't know how he broke through Emperor Wu. Lu Chen's operation stunned the 3 people who were chasing Ji Shuang. Aren't Lu Chen and Ji Shuang the same group? The 3 people stepped forward and said, "Thank you, brother, for helping us catch this little thief. We are in Shai Kongcheng. How about we hand over this little thief to us for disposal?" Lu Chen's eyes were dark and he said in an indifferent tone, "You can take your money, but he must keep it." Yi Kongcheng looked at Ji Shuang with half-narrowed eyes, a dangerous light shining from the depths of his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "Ji Shuang, you'd better never appear in front of me again. I'll count you lucky this time. I'll see you next time. I won't chop off your hands." Then Yi Kongcheng took back his money bag from Ji Shuang's hand and turned around to leave. But before he left, his eyes inadvertently fell on the Xuanyuan sword held high in Lu Chen's hand. The golden sword couldn't help but make Yi Kongcheng take a second look. The deep greed in his eyes could no longer be hidden. When Yi Kongcheng and Lu Chen looked at each other, Lu Chen clearly felt the greed hidden in Yi Kongcheng's eyes. Lu Chen had experienced too many dangers in the world, so he naturally knew Yi Kongcheng's thoughts. The true energy in Yi Kongcheng's 3 people began to surge, and Lu Chen was not to be outdone. A low dragon roar sounded, and the sound of the dragon roar filled everyone's hearts and souls, causing the eyes of Yi Kongcheng and the other 3 people to briefly blur. Taking this opportunity, Lu Chen raised the Xuanyuan sword in his hand. Phoenix flames wrapped around the blade. Without any fancy skills, an unrivaled crimson sword energy roared out and blasted away at the figures of Yi Kongcheng and the 3 of them. At dusk, Yi Kongcheng's clothes were torn to pieces. He staggered back a step, and then Lu Chen slashed out with another sword energy. He didn't even have a chance to react, and fell headlong into the cold snow. Yi Kongcheng bared his teeth in pain and said, "Brother, why is this happening? You and I have no grievances, so why do you want to kill me?" Lu Chen's eyes flashed with a faint light, and his voice was cold to the bones. You shouldn't covet my Xuanyuan sword, you are looking for death. Brother, is there any misunderstanding between us? I don't know. Lu Chen didn't give Yi Kongcheng any chance to explain. The shock in the eyes of the three people's rolling heads was frozen forever. Seeing that Lu Chen easily killed the three people from Yi Kongcheng, Ji Shuang said tremblingly, Brother, if you have something to say, please let me know. If you let me live, I can promise you a lifetime of prosperity and wealth. Lu Chen sneered and said, Promise me glory and wealth? Ji Shuang, do you want to see what you are like? The mighty Emperor Wu actually makes a living by plagiarism. Don't you think it's sad? Ji Shuang turned her eyes and said, I have my own reasons. Besides, they were the ones who took the money from me. The reason? Lu Chen was puzzled. Could it be that the young man in front of him had something unspeakable? It's just, forget it, I'm too lazy to tell you. In short, you and I are not enemies. Why don't we make friends? When I get rich, I will never forget you, Ji Shuang Wabing said. Lu Chen rolled his eyes and said, It's not impossible to let you go. I'll give you a chance to make up for your mistakes. It's my first time in this ancient martial arts world and I'm unfamiliar with life. You will act as my guide during this period. How? You are not from the ancient martial arts world. Ji Shuang opened her mouth, but stopped talking. Ji Shuang's eyes showed disbelief, and she looked at Lu Chen with a rather strange look. Judging from Lu Chen's appearance, he was definitely less than half a century old. If he is not from the ancient martial arts world, then how talented he must be to be able to break through to the martial emperor in the secular world where true energy is 10 times thinner than the ancient martial arts world. Ji Shuang couldn't imagine it. He was stunned for 2 seconds and then said, You have found the right person. I am familiar with the ancient martial arts world. There is nothing in the ancient martial arts world that I, Ji Shuang, don't know. Quite sensible. Lu Chen put down the Xuanyuan sword that was pressed against Ji Shuang's neck and said, Hey, how can a person not bow his head under the eaves? I wonder what I call my eldest brother. Ji Shuang spread her hands and shrugged helplessly. Lu Chen. Under Ji Shuang's guidance, Lu Chen followed him into the whirlpool gate. After passing through the whirlpool, the surrounding scenery did not change much. It was still a pure white snowfield. But the zhenqi around him was more than 10 times stronger than before. Lu Chen knew that he had finally arrived in the legendary ancient martial arts world. Ji Shuang said, Since it is your first time in the ancient martial arts world, you should know some basic common sense. There are 2 major empires in the ancient martial arts world, namely the Nanshuang Empire and the Baiming Empire. The place where we are now is the southernmost part of the Nanshuang Empire, the plain of ice and snow. This is also the only entrance to the secular world. Ji Shuang talked a lot along the way and almost told Lu Chen all the basic knowledge of the ancient martial arts world. Lu Chen asked, Since you know so much, do you know about the Mo family? The Mo family. You should be talking about the Mo family, the 7 major families of the Nanshuang Empire, right? Not only do I know that, I also heard that the Mo family recently found their long-lost legitimate daughter from the secular world, but I heard he is a cripple. By the way, the only inn in the ice and snowfield is ahead. The blizzard is raging now. If you want to leave, you'd better wait until the blizzard stops. Otherwise, you will easily lose your way, exhaust your energy and die in this snowy area. Also, you have to hide your valuable things later. If they are robbed, don't blame me for not reminding you. Ji Shuang glanced at the Xuanyuan sword in Lu Chen's hand. He could naturally see the uniqueness of the golden sword, but he did not covet it like the 3 of Yi Kongcheng. Maybe it's because he's afraid of Lu Chen's strength, or maybe it's because of other reasons. There is an inn in this snowy area with few human traces? Lu Chen clicked his tongue. That's natural. This is the only entrance to the secular world. I don't know how many warriors pass through this place every year. Of course. You'd better not provoke the group of people in the inn. Most of them are extremely evil people who have been captured by the Empire. He is wanted, so he has no choice but to hide in the ice and snow plains. Oh, so you are also a vicious person wanted by the Empire? Lu Chen stared and thought, but Ji Shuang looked extremely weak. Putting aside his cultivation as a martial emperor, he looked like a completely useless scum. Unexpectedly, this seemingly harmless boy would be wanted by the Empire. Ji Shuang pulled her lips and retorted, I told you that I have my own reasons. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in such a ghost place. In the snowstorm, flickering lights loomed from inside the wooden house. Lu Chen pushed open the door of the inn. The snowstorm blew cold white light into the inn, and the wooden door creaked. The moment Lu Chen and Ji Shuang stepped into the inn, they received unkind glances from all directions of the inn, but after they glanced at Lu Chen, most of them looked away again. The aroma of wine that hits your face is still fragrant even in this freezing temperature. It's better to call it a pub than an inn. Ji Shuang struggled to close the wooden door of the tavern, and an inappropriate voice came from the corner. You brat, how dare you? You can come back alive from the hands of Yi Kongcheng and the others? Let me guess if they have died in your hands. Ji Shuang smiled brightly and said, That's natural. My life is tough, young master. Yi Kongcheng is dead. Hearing this, several drinkers raised their heads and looked at Ji Shuang again, but didn't say anything. Because here, human life is the cheapest, and a human life may not be worth as much as a glass of strong wine. Lu Chen followed the voice and saw that the person Ji Shuang was talking to was a sloppy old man wrapped in a coat. His face was red from the cold, and a pair of cloudy eyes were hidden under his sloppy and messy hair. Lu Chen hesitated and walked towards the sloppy old man. When the old man saw Lu Chen and Ji Shuang sitting across from him, he didn't say anything. Instead, he put his chapped palms to his mouth and gently exhaled a breath of hot air to get the short-term warmth. By the way, Ji Shuang, the whirlpool gate opens once a month. When it was opened last time, did you see a woman in red clothes? By the way, there should be a one-armed boy beside her, and a girl in a black dress. Lu Chen knew very well that entering the ancient martial arts world to find a breakthrough opportunity was Feng Yu's only chance to make a comeback. She will definitely seize any opportunity to return to the ancient martial arts world and give it a try. Ji Shuang said casually, I was not exiled here last month. I was sent here half a month ago. Why do you ask this? The old man sitting opposite Lu Chen's eyes shone brightly, and he seemed to say intentionally, Hey, I seem to have some impression of that woman in red dress who looks like a fairy. Ji Shuang said coldly, Lu Lao, I warn you not to talk nonsense here. Lu Chen ignored Ji Shuang and asked in a deep voice, Are you sure you've seen it? Lu Lao smiled meaningfully and said with a proud face, Not only have I seen it, but most of the people present have seen that stunning fairy who was seriously injured. But if you don't believe it, you can just pretend that I didn't say it. Lu Chen chuckled and nodded. Since you know, can you tell me the news about her? It's natural. You and I are both fallen people in the world, and we should help each other. It's just that my mouth is very dry. I don't know if I can finish talking about her in a while. Lu Lao said with gleaming eyes. Lu Chen suddenly understood what Lu Lao meant, and he said to Ji Shuang, Order a glass of wine for this friend. Ji Shuang was unhappy, glared at Lu Chen and said, Lu Chen, can't you tell that he is lying to you? If he could find out, I would eat this table. Go if you were told. Don't forget who helped you get your money back. Lu Chen said quietly, he finally got some news about Fengju, how could he miss it so easily? Ji Shuang took out 3 gold coins with a face full of pain. Prices here were hundreds of times higher than normal prices. Just a glass of ordinary liquor was worth 3 gold coins, which was enough to be worth half a year's savings of an ordinary family. Gulu. Gulu. After Lu Lao drank a glass of wine, his face became even more rosy. He said with a radiant face, The woman in red dress you mentioned must be injured, right? Before Lu Chen could answer, Lu Lao said with a lewd smile, She is definitely the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life. Just one look at her can make my blood surge and my blood boil. At that time, she was seriously injured and her clothes were torn when she entered the tavern. The skin under the red dress is as white as jade. When Lu Lao recalled Feng Ju's appearance, his cloudy old eyes showed strong evil thoughts. There were 2 juniors with low cultivation levels around her. At that time, someone felt that she was easy to bully, so they stepped forward and tried to touch her. As a result, their eyes were gouged out by the vicious woman. It was just as Lu Chen expected. Fengju entered the ancient martial arts world a month ago. Then do you know which direction they went after leaving here? I didn't know this. I was scared to death at the time. Who knew that woman was an 8th grade demigod? Lu Lao became increasingly drunk and fell on the table in a daze. Ji Shuang pulled her lips and said, Look, I just said he didn't know anything, and he wasted my 3 gold coins. In the tavern with the lights flickering on and off, Lu Chen's eyes were distant and deep. He didn't know the whereabouts of Feng Zhu and Chu Feng, so it was difficult to devise a way to deal with them. In this way, with Chu Feng's urine, he will definitely get many opportunities and greatly improve his strength in a very short period of time. However, Feng Zhu and the other three were all injured to varying degrees. It would take a lot of time just to heal the injuries, which was enough for Lu Chen to intercept Chu Feng's opportunity. Then after the blizzard stops, we will leave the ice and snowfield. Lu Chen slowly said, Ji Shuang, how far is the nearest Qingyang town from here? According to the development of the plot, Chu Feng will get a wordless medical book in Qingyang town, which is rumored to be written by the king of medicine in ancient times. Lu Chen naturally knew that the wordless medical book was the medicine king's codex from ancient times. Lu Chen must get the medical book before Chu Feng. Ji Shuang's eyes dimmed, and she stared at Lu Chen with her deep eyes, thinking to herself, isn't this Lu Chen's first time in the ancient martial arts world? Why did he know the existence of such a remote town as Qingyang town? Although Ji Shuang was confused, he did not ask Lu Chen. Maybe Lu Chen, like himself, has an unspeakable secret. Ji Shuang spoke slowly and gave good advice. Qingyang town is the closest town to the ice and snow plains, but it will take half a month to arrive at the fastest. Lu Chen, I still advise you to stay here during this period. Here, there have been frequent blizzards recently, and it is easy to lose your way, run out of energy and be trapped in the ice and snowfield. No, I have to leave after the snow stops. There are some things that cannot be delayed. Ji Shuang's words made Lu Chen's expression change, but he was still determined to leave. Lu Chen couldn't afford to waste his time like this. Although Chu Feng's luck had dropped by half, he was still a variable to Lu Chen. Lu Chen will not continue to let Chu Feng become stronger. He must intercept Chu Feng's opportunity one step ahead. After the snowstorm stopped, Lu Chen and Ji Shuang left the tavern. For 3 days, the entire snow area was very calm, and there was no further blizzard. However, this calm only lasted until the morning of the 4th day. Snowflakes as big as goose feathers danced in the wind, and the entire snowy area was covered in silver like a snow country. The vision in front of him was blocked by snowflakes and gradually dimmed, making Lu Chen unable to discern the direction for a while. Ji Shuang said sadly, Master, I have warned you that now is the time when snowstorms occur frequently, but you didn't listen. It's okay now. Master, I'm going to die young. Shut your mouth, I didn't ask you to follow me. It was you who wanted to follow me out of the tavern. Lu Chen turned his eyes coldly to look at Ji Shuang, who was covered in large snowflakes. It was obvious that this guy wanted to follow him, but now he was blaming him. Lu Chen's body was surrounded by phoenix flames. Before the snowflakes could touch him, the scorching heat melted the snowflakes. Then Lu Chen stretched out his wings condensed by phoenix flames, turned into a fireball and flew towards the north. Ji Shuang took a slight breath, and then turned into an ice rainbow and chased after Lu Chen. Ji Shuang was very fast and caught up with Lu Chen within a short time. How is it possible? Ji Shuang waits first. Lu Chen was suspended in midair, staring incredulously at the ice-capped snow peaks below him. On top of the snow peaks were blooming pure white iceberg snow lotuses, 8 of them in total. But Lu Chen didn't understand why he always felt that the scene in front of him seemed familiar. Have they been here before? Ji Shuang looked at Lu Chen in surprise and lost her voice. What's wrong? Lu Chen, you didn't forget the direction, did you? Don't you think we've been here many times? Lu Chen frowned and said coldly. Ji Shuang's blue eyes sparkled slightly, and he smiled and said, Are you mistaken? This is a land of ice and snow. Isn't the scenery almost normal? Seeing that Lu Chen didn't believe it, Ji Shuang slowly lowered his body and tried to leave footprints in the thick snow. After taking a few steps, he returned to the high place. Lu Chen said with a look of astonishment on his face, What are you doing? Of course we leave a mark, so we can see it if we go around in circles, Ji Shuang explained. Lu Chen said with a joking smile, Are you really stupid or are you pretending to be stupid? It's snowing so heavily now, even if you leave footprints, they will be covered again. Lu Chen's words made Ji Shuang suddenly startled. Ji Shuang pretended not to hear, took out a gold coin from her purse and threw it into the snow, then followed Lu Chen and continued flying north. About half an hour later, Lu Chen looked around in surprise. What stood in front of him was still a snow peak covered with white snow, and 8 iceberg snow lotuses still bloomed on the snow peak. Lu Chen inexplicably felt that he and Ji Shuang were back to the starting point again. Lu Chen raised his palm slightly, and a shining golden coin in the snow fell into Lu Chen's hand. Ji Shuang looked at the gold coin in surprise. It was the mark that he had just dropped. In other words, they've been going in circles. Ji Shuang was confused and said, "What on earth is going on here, Lu Chen? Why do we keep walking in circles?" Ji Shuang calmed down quickly and analyzed. "Lu Chen and we may have been targeted. If I guessed correctly, we should be in the illusion array now. If we don't break the illusion array, both you and I will be exhausted. Guang Zhen is so angry here." Illusion array. Could it be an illusion array master? Lu Chen frowned deeply and said to himself, he had just entered the ancient martial arts world and met an illusion master. What a bad luck. Illusion array master is an extremely rare profession in the ancient martial arts world. Even an ordinary illusion array master will be attracted by major families and 2 empires. Of course, in the ancient martial arts world, in addition to fantasy formation masters, there are also spiritual formation masters, battle formation masters, alchemy masters. Lu Chen couldn't figure out why such a revered illusion master appeared here. Could it be that, like Ji Shuang, he is a criminal wanted by the empire? Lu Chen tried to communicate with the illusion master. "Senior, there is no need to kill everyone if we have no grievances, right?" Ji Shuang sighed sadly. "Dear Mr. Illusion Array Master, if it's for money and things, we can give you all the money we have. Please spare my life." A strange chuckle suddenly sounded in the silence, and the sound made Lu and Chen's hair stand on end. As expected, they were targeted by the Magic Array Master. This is going to be troublesome. Lu Chen was puzzled. He had just arrived in the ancient martial arts world for just a few days, so why was he targeted by the Magic Formation Master? Since entering the ancient martial arts world, he has never exposed the Xuanyuan sword or any martial arts skills, but he was still entangled by the illusion master. Etc. Lu Chen glanced at Ji Shuang with his dark eyes. Could it be that this kid Ji Shuang caused the trouble? Ji Shuang thought hard and said, if Lu Chen wants to escape from the illusion array of the illusion master, he must find out where the eye of the illusion array is, otherwise we will not be able to break his illusion array with our strength. There are only 2 ways to break through the phantom array. One is to find the eye of the phantom array, unlock the eye, and the phantom array will break itself. The other is to break the phantom array through force, but this has extremely high requirements for the realm of warriors. While Lu Chen was still thinking about how to break the formation, Ji Shuang could no longer hold it any longer. There were ripples around Ji Shuang's body, and the true energy vortex was blasting away in all directions. Ji Shuang wanted to try to find the formation's eye through luck, but how could this be possible? Illusion formation masters are not fools. They let you wave randomly a few times and let you easily unlock the formation. Wait a minute for Ji Shuang. Don't waste your energy for no reason. Otherwise, even if we find the formation eye, we may not be able to escape from him alive. Lu Chen frowned and analyzed calmly that the other party most likely wanted to drain him and Ji Shuang's energy in this way. If it is a magic array master, there must be some special connection between him and the magic array's eye, etc. That means you can find out the magic array's eye through the magic array master. Lu Chen held his breath and slowly closed his deep eyes. Seeing this, the illusion master sneered in his heart. Are you giving up the struggle now? It's as good as the rumors. It seems that I can take care of you Ji alone, Frost. Lu Chen said in a low voice. Dragon secret. When Lu Chen opened his eyes, there was a ray of white light in his eyes. At this time, his mental power had been increased 3 times. Through the surrounding snow, a blue figure appeared in Lu Chen's eyes. It seemed to be just an afterimage that was so blurry that his face could not be distinguished, but his aura was enough to make Lu Chen feel a hint of danger. The phantom's body exuded a ray of blue energy, slowly pulling it towards the top of the snow peak behind Lu Chen. Could that be where the eye of the phantom formation was? Without any hesitation, Lu Chen flapped his phoenix wings, and the unparalleled storm of true energy swept towards the iceberg snow lotus on the top of the snow peak. However, the blazing phoenix flames dissipated without a trace before they touched the snow lotus, as if they were being swept away, swallowed by some mysterious force. In the snowy area, a hoarse, sarcastic voice came from. It's quite good, I can find the formation so easily, but so what, if I hadn't been fully prepared, I wouldn't have appeared here. How can this be? Lu Chen ignored the sarcasm. He raised his eyes in surprise and looked at the space in front of him. The space there was filled with delicate ripples. The moment his phoenix flames touched that space, it disappeared and only the remaining warmth remained. Lu Chen didn't believe in evil. He suddenly raised his palm, and a phoenix burning with domineering flames fluttered out. The cry of the phoenix resounded throughout the world. The firebird and phoenix rushed towards the formation at the top of the snow peak with overwhelming power. But it was still the same as before. The phoenix flames dissipated like clouds of smoke in just a few seconds. Ji Shuang speculated. Don't worry, Lu Chen, there seems to be more than one illusory formation here. His purpose is nothing more than to trap us here through the phantom formation and consume all our energy. In this case, let's wait here. He won't be able to do anything to us for a while. Let's see when he lets us out. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Your Highness, the seventh prince, you are as stupid as ever. The seventh prince. Lu Chen turned around and looked at Ji Shuang. Which empire was Ji Shuang the prince of? There are only two empires in the ancient martial arts world, namely the Nanshuang Empire and the Baiming Empire. Since Ji Shuang's surname is Ji, he should be the prince of the Baiming Empire. But as far as Lu Chen knew, didn't the Baiming Empire only have one prince? Then why is Ji Shuang called the seventh prince? Ji Shuang helplessly spread her hands and said, Lu Chen, I know you are surprised now. When you take me away safely, I will tell you everything I know. Lu Chen's eyes were dark and deep as he said, So, his goal is you and not me? Ji Shuang nodded, not understanding what Lu Chen wanted to say. Lu Chen said to the blue shadow, Since your goal is him and not me, how about I help you kill him and you let me out of the illusion array? Lu Chen, you. What did you say? You want to help him kill me? Ji Shuang turned pale in shock, her heart and soul trembled. He unconsciously took 2 steps back, staring into Lu Chen's eyes with his blue eyes in disbelief. Although the two knew each other for just 3 days, Ji Shuang never imagined that Lu Chen would kill him in order to survive. Otherwise, Ji Shuang, we met by chance. Why should I offend an unknown enemy for you? Lu Chen said with an extremely cold voice, without any warmth in his eyes. Ha ha ha. It's really interesting. Your Highness, the seventh prince, is now alone again. You help me kill him, and I will untie the illusion array and let you out. The mysterious man's laughter echoed all around. Voices. Lu Chen stood in the air, the phoenix flames in his palms raging and burning. Even if he was in the iceberg and snowy area, the blazing temperature was enough to burn everything in the world. His eyes were as cold as a 1,000-year cold pool, and he looked towards Ji without any hesitation. Frost kills away. Lu Chen, you despicable villain, you dare to kill the king just to survive. If I don't die, I will kill all 9 of your clans. Ji Shuang was half stunned and half inexplicably furious. The blue ice light flickered from his palm. He gritted his teeth slightly, and the violent blue qi in his body surged out like a tide. A ridge of ice rose up in front of Ji Shuang's frail body, blocking Lu Chen's attack for him. However, the phoenix fire was the most domineering flame in the world, and it was definitely not something Ji Shuang could withstand. Although Ji Shuang doesn't know Lu Chen's strength, Lu Chen can easily kill the 3 martial emperors in Yi Kongsheng, which proves that his strength will never be lower than that of the martial emperors. Regicide. I am neither a subject of your Baiming Empire nor a member of the ancient martial arts world. How can I be guilty of regicide? Lu Chen smiled evilly, a cold light flashed across his eyes, and the phoenix flames engulfed the ice and blasted towards Ji Shuang's figure. Phoenix flames are the most domineering flames in the world. How could Ji Shuang's ice power resist the domineering power of the phoenix flames? Under the blazing heat of the phoenix flames, the virtual blue light and shadow instantly dissipated. In the explosion, Ji Shuang was knocked far away. A trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. He held his chest with one hand and said with a pale face, Lu Chen, I am the 7th prince of the Baiming Empire. If you dare to kill me, you don't believe in my father. The emperor will kill all 9 of your clans. Lu Chen burst into laughter and said, If Ji Shuang were somewhere else, I might believe your rhetoric, but here the identity you are proud of is nothing but bullshit. Also, if your father really values you, then why are you exiled here? Ji Shuang's eyes were about to burst and she said, Wait a minute, Lu Chen. My father will never let you go. Lu Chen stepped forward slowly and kicked Ji Shuang to the ground. The severe pain caused Ji Shuang's eyes to burst. Ji Shuang looked sluggish, her figure trembled, and her breathing became weak. The mysterious man in the snowy field appeared not far from Lu Chen like a mist. He was wearing a long blue gown. Under Lu Chen's gaze, he slowly walked towards Ji Shuang. "You're well, seventh prince. I wonder if you still remember me?" The mysterious blue-robed figure appeared like a ghost. Ji Shuang struggled to raise his blue eyes, and a face that was inexplicably familiar to him appeared in his eyes. Ji Shuang said in surprise, "It's you, Mo Yu. Don't forget that you are the illusion master of our Baiming Empire, and I am the seventh prince of the Baiming Empire. Aren't you afraid of being exterminated?" How could Ji Shuang not be surprised? The young man in front of him was the illusion master of his Baiming Empire, and he actually came to kill him. Mo Yu sneered and said, "If you die here, who will know that I killed you?" "Did brother ask you to kill me?" Ji Shuang asked coldly. Now in Ji Shuang's mind, except for that cold eldest brother, she can't think of anyone who could order the Grand Master of the Illusion Array to kill him. "Why are you so surprised? It's you, a loser, who lost to him in just one round. I really don't know why His Highness the Crown Prince is afraid of you, so he asked me to kill you." Mo Yu looked at Ji Shuang with disdain. Ji Shuang's talent was the worst among all the princes. And he is the Grand Master of the Illusion Formation. He was actually appointed to kill Ji Shuang, a loser. As far as Mo Yu is concerned, it is simply overkill and underutilized. Mo Yu looked at Lu Chen appreciatively and said, "You are very good. You are obviously a 7th grade martial emperor, but you have the power to rival an 8th grade demigod. Let me introduce you. I am Mo Yu, the Grand Master of the Illusion Array under His Royal Highness Ji Han. Although I don't know how you discovered the magic formation you made an extremely correct decision. Are you interested in joining His Highness the Crown Prince's command and serving His Highness the Crown Prince?" Mo Yu smiled softly and invited. Lu Chen turned his gaze away slightly, thought for a while and then refused. "Sorry, I'm used to freedom and don't like any restrictions." Mo Yu looked at Lu Chen in surprise. It was the dream of many people to serve His Highness the Crown Prince. But Lu Chen actually refused out of nowhere, which surprised him. But Mo Yu was not angry, because when Lu Chen said these words, Lu Chen was already a dead person in his eyes. "Since you can't be used by His Royal Highness, then you can only die." Lu Chen clearly knew that the Crown Prince ordered him to assassinate Ji Shuang, but he still dared to reject his invitation. He was a brainless fool. Mo Yu withdrew his gaze and did not continue to care about Lu Chen. The most important thing for him now is to kill Ji Shuang, and then Lu Chen. Lu Chen's dark eyes were focused on Mo Yu's back. His aura was rising steadily, and there was a sharp cold light in his palms. He only heard a low dragon roar in the snowy field, accompanied by with the loud and clear sound of the phoenix. Lu Chen roared. "Dragon and phoenix strike." With the blessing of the dragon soul, the true energy in Lu Chen's body was deeper than before, and the martial arts skills he used were more domineering. Dragons and phoenixes roared out, and snow flew across the sky and earth. Mo Yu felt the fierce murderous intent from Lu Chen. His figure trembled, turning into a blue afterimage and retreating quickly, dodging Lu Chen's attack. "You bastard, how dare you sneak up on me?" Mo Yu said with a ferocious face, wishing to tear Lu Chen into pieces. At this time, Ji Shuang wiped the blood stains from the corner of her mouth and slowly stood up, grinning and said, "Mo Yu, the really stupid person is you, right? Illusion formation masters never enter their own formations, so how come you forgot something important?" Mo Yu instantly understood what was going on. It turns out that Ji Shuang's injury was just a show the two of them did on the occasion, and the purpose was to trick him into the illusion array. "Okay, you dare to tease me," Mo Yu sneered. He was actually deceived by a useless prince. In fact, Lu Chen and Ji Shuang realized very early that they were trapped in the illusion formation. So the two of them put on a good show and tricked the person who set up the illusory array into coming in. In this way, no one can escape unless Mo Yu unlocks the magic array. Ji Shuang looked at Mo Yu with cold blue eyes and said without any doubt, "I order you to untie the magic array, otherwise you won't even have a chance to escape." "A dying man is worthy of ordering me." Mo Yu smiled ghostly, the ice marks on his palms flickered, and hundreds of skeleton warriors wearing armor and holding giant axes suddenly emerged from the snow. The skeleton warriors fought in the direction of Lu Chen and Ji Shuang. What is different from Lu Chen's imagination is that these skeleton warriors are extremely fast without any sloppiness. The sense of oppression exuded by each one is almost the same as that of a 6th-grade martial saint. The only difference is that they do not have any emotions, they are just human beings. A killing machine. When Lu Chen saw the skeleton warrior counter-attacking, he jumped suddenly and floated in midair. He stared at the gradually fading blue afterimage with a stern look, and a slightly proud smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Want to run away? Unless you unlock the illusion formation, you will definitely die today. Just as Lu Chen finished speaking, the dragon and phoenix phantoms shot towards the phantom domineeringly, and one after another the skeleton warriors were wiped out in ashes under the devastating energy. Although Mo Yu is the Grand Master of the illusion formation, his strength is only that of a 7th-grade martial emperor. The possibility of leaving alive under the joint attack of Lu Chen and Ji Shuang is almost zero. Mo Yu did not dare to confront Lu Chen head-on. He ordered the skeleton warrior to stand in front of him to offset Lu Chen's attack. Under Lu Chen's offensive, a large number of skeleton warriors fell, and the bones turned into ashes and disappeared, scattered along with the snowflakes on the snow. Seeing that Lu Chen's attack was neutralized, Mo Yu laughed and said, "Haha. You want to kill me, just because of you two losers?" Mo Yu's eyes were extremely gloomy. If Lu Chen was willing to join His Royal Highness, he would be happy to let Lu Chen live. But Lu Chen didn't know how to live or die and dared to refuse his invitation. You know, even a dead person is not qualified to reject His Highness the Crown Prince. Now Lu Chen is so bold that he joins forces with Ji Shuang, a dying person, and wants to kill him. This is simply ridiculous. Mo Yu smiled strangely and said, "I originally wanted to leave you all intact, but now it seems that it is not necessary. Bingming Xuanfeng will tear them apart for me." Rich zhenqi gushes out of Mo Yu's body like a tide, and an ice-blue phoenix slowly emerges from behind him. Its appearance makes the already bone-chilling snowy area set off an even more biting cold wind. As the ice wings flapped, the cold wind carrying the true energy stabbed like a sword. "I would like to see whether your ice phoenix is stronger or my fire phoenix." Lu Chen roared loudly, feeling the surging true energy in his body. He suddenly raised a phoenix burning with flames with his palm and fluttered out. The phoenix flames burned domineeringly in the phoenix's spiritual eyes. The moment it appeared, the biting cold wind dissipated in an instant. Two majestic breaths collided together, two phoenixes entangled together, a battle between ice and fire. Lu Chen and Ji Shuang didn't give Mo Yu a chance to breathe. Lu Chen took out the Xuanyuan sword, and his figure disappeared into the ice and snow like a mist. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Mo Yu, holding the Xuanyuan sword in his hand. He stabbed Mo Yu's chest without sparing any effort. Mo Yu was caught off guard, holding the sword blade with both hands, and dripping blood slid down between his palms. "You deserve to die," Mo Yu roared, and the ice phoenix fighting with the fire phoenix suddenly glowed with bright ice light. The ice light was as dazzling as daylight, and an extremely powerful aura rushed towards his face. Ji Shuang's strength was too weak after all. Although he had the strength of a 7th-grade martial emperor, it was not enough in the eyes of a guy like Mo Yu who licked blood with the tip of his sword. Under the biting frost breath, Ji Shuang's legs were frozen into ice sculptures. He wanted to escape, but half of his body was firmly fixed in place, unable to move at all. Mo Yu pulled out his body, ignoring the blood dripping from his palm. He condensed his sword with both fingers and stabbed towards Ji Shuang's throat crazily. At the critical moment, the flame phoenix let out a soft cry and spread its wings. As its fire wings flapped, fire feathers burning with domineering phoenix flames blasted toward the snow. The ice shadow of the Bingming Xuanfeng was directly pierced by the fire feather, and it fell into the snow with a howl, causing a huge avalanche in the snow. The dense fire feathers made Mo Yu terrified. He put his arms in front of his chest to protect his fatal parts, preventing the fire feathers from penetrating his body and taking away his life. The temperature between heaven and earth suddenly rose, and the ice that bound him under Ji Shuang's feet melted instantly. Ji Shuang broke free from the ice, and an ice pick shot out from his hand, stabbing at Mo Yu's chest. The ice pick injected with true energy was unstoppable, piercing through Mo Yu's shoulder like a sharp blade. Mo Yu staggered 3 steps back to stabilize his body. The ice pick passed directly through his body, leaving a bloody hole visible to the naked eye on his shoulder. A heart-rending wail echoed in the vast white snow. Mo Yu covered his shoulder with one hand and screamed hoarsely. He looked at Lu Shen with gloomy eyes and said, "You will regret it if you dare to go against His Highness the Crown Prince. Now that you have killed Ji Shuang, this is your only chance to atone for your sins." Lu Chen stood in the air, crossed his arms and said disdainfully, "Do I need to atone for my sins? If Ji Han dares to cause trouble for me, he will be killed. How dare you, a thief, make such arrogant remarks? Today I will kill you on behalf of His Highness the Crown Prince." Mo Yu shouted in a gloomy voice, with a cold light shining in his pupils. He took a step forward suddenly, and the seals in his hands changed. A cold air spread around Mo Yu's body. The cold air seemed to last forever. Solidification. Mo Yu didn't say any more nonsense. In the snow, the originally weak ice dark phoenix shook its blue ice wings. Ice spikes condensed from around its body and shot in all directions in the snow. Ji Shuang knew that this was something he could not withstand, so he hurriedly used secret techniques to form ice armor to wrap around his body and intercept the ice spikes. However, under the huge bombardment, Ji Shuang was still knocked far away. Lu Chen's eyes were indifferently staring at Mo Yu, who was shouting hoarsely. The fire phoenix wrapped him under the fire wings. The moment the ice cone touched the phoenix flame, it was evaporated by the scorching high temperature, leaving only hazy water vapor. Mo Yu's eyes showed horror. How could this be possible? How powerful is this flame that can melt the black ice of my own ice nether black phoenix? In the phoenix flames, the sword energy of the Xuanyuan sword in Lu Chen's hand rippled like a tide and dispersed in the ice and snow world. Feeling the fierce and terrifying murderous aura, Mo Yu trembled inwardly. Mo Yu actually felt the breath of death from the sword energy. In his current state, it is absolutely impossible to survive this sword energy. He saw the sword energy soaring into the sky, and the white light sword energy struck towards his body. Mo Yu did not dare to confront him head-on. His figure turned into mist and disappeared on the spot. Then, the ice-dark black phoenix, which was glowing with ice, raised its head to the sky and roared, and rushed towards the sword energy. Like the phantom of foam, the ice-dark phoenix turned into ice light and dissipated in the ice and snow. The sword energy shattered the shadow of the ice phoenix and directly tore open the snow. A bottomless ravine crisscrossed the snow, and the surrounding snow rolled away into the crack. Mo Yu's heart could no longer be described as horrified. Although the ice-dark black phoenix was only condensed through martial arts, the black ice covering its body was enough to withstand a full blow from an 8th-grade demigod, but now it was chopped into pieces by Lu Chen's sword. Mo Yu's faint blue light flashed past, and when he reappeared, he was already at the top of the snow peak. Without any hesitation, he hurriedly picked off the iceberg snow lotus on the snowy peak. The moment the iceberg snow lotus was picked off, the surrounding space began to distort and the environment began to change. Although it is still a vast white snowfield, the scenery is finally no longer the same snow-capped peaks. Mo Yu smiled sinisterly and said, "You will regret the decision you made today. His Highness the Crown Prince will never let you go. And you, Ji Shuang, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you dare to step into half of the Baiming Empire, if you step forward, you will be wiped out in ashes. I will never let you go. We will meet again later." Then his figure gradually faded until he disappeared. Ji Shuang's blue eyes, 100 meters away, never left the shadow of the sword. Its sharp edge made his soul tremble even from a long distance away. He had only experienced this kind of pressure from the god of war. Even an 8th-grade demigod has never given him such a sense of intimidation. Who is Lu Chen? Why does he have such a domineering magic weapon? Maybe he can help him win the throne. A bold idea that he had never had before quietly emerged in Ji Shuang's heart. He wants to seize the throne and take back everything that belongs to him. After seeing Mo Yu leave, Ji Shuang smiled as if he had survived the disaster. "I thought I was going to explain it here today. Fortunately, I have you, Lu Chen. If it weren't for you, I really don't know how I would have learned from the master of the illusion formation, survive." Lu Chen looked at Ji Shuang and said thoughtfully, "You are the 7th prince of the Baiming Empire, so Ji Han is your eldest brother?" Ji Shuang said angrily, "Bullshit brother, that despicable bastard wishes I could die here, so that no one can threaten him to win the throne." Sure enough, Ji Han, the future emperor of the Baiming Empire, turned out to be Ji Shuang's eldest brother. However, what makes Lu Chen incredible is that in the original plot, no prince other than Ji Han was introduced from beginning to end. But now, Ji Han has 6 more brothers out of thin air. What is going on? Could it be that Ji Han killed all 6 of his younger brothers before he came to power? So it wasn't involved in the original plot. Although Lu Chen knows the general direction of the plot, the current timeline has long been messed up, and many things are out of his control, just like meeting Ji Shuang, the 7th prince of the Biming Empire. Lu Chen's eyes narrowed slightly and he asked slowly, "So you are running away here to avoid Ji Han's pursuit?" Ji Shuang sighed helplessly. "No, I am now in the battle for the throne." "Oh, the battle for the throne." Lu Chen was a little curious. Wasn't the throne decided by Emperor Biming? Ji Shuang explained. "Lu Chen, you may not know that according to the inheritance tradition of our Biming Empire, all princes will be randomly exiled to any place in the ancient martial arts world after they reach adulthood. Without any help, only the first person to return alive is qualified to inherit the throne. And I am the youngest of the 7 princes. The moment I came of age, this game of power began. In order to successfully inherit the throne, the prince will win over the ministers of the empire, and even send people to hunt down his brothers." Lu Chen finally understood. No wonder there was only Ji Han in the Biming Empire. It turns out that in the original plot, the other 6 princes were killed by him, which really fulfilled the old saying, "The most ruthless emperor's family." "So now you are going back to Biming Empire to fight for the throne?" Ji Shuang laughed at himself and said, "How can I compete with them for the throne? I, Ji Shuang, am the weakest among the 7 princes. The ministers of the empire are afraid to avoid me and do not dare to have anything to do with me, because everyone knows that it is impossible for me to inherit the throne. Assuming you are self-aware, when we arrive at Qingyang town, we will be separated and we will have nothing to do with each other." In Lu Chen's view, Ji Shuang had absolutely no chance of winning this power struggle, and it was a blessing among misfortunes for him to survive. Hey, are you so heartless? I think you have some strength. Are you interested in following this prince and doing something great? It's really whimsical. If you have that idea, you might as well live a few more days," Lu Chen said jokingly. "Lu Chen, you are a grasshopper on the same rope as me now. Don't think Ji Han will let you go." "Oh, you are threatening me. I can kill you. Ji Han will be happy to see your head." Lu Chenshu unfolded the phoenix flame wings behind him and flew in the direction of Qingyang town. Ji Shuang tugged her lips, then turned into an ice rainbow and chased after him. Although Lu Chen only has the cultivation level of a 7th grade martial emperor, his martial arts can crush a 7th grade martial emperor, which is enough to show how extraordinary he is. Ji Shuang naturally wanted to hug Lu Chen's thigh tightly. Although she couldn't help him fight for the throne, she could at least ensure that he was alive. Lu Chen has saved him twice, so there will be a third time. At least Ji Shuang thinks so. Qingyang town is a small town in the Nanming Empire. Its area is not large, and its geographical location is also in a remote area of the empire. But there is an endless stream of warriors who come to Qingyang town every year. This is the closest town to the secular world. There are also many warriors who choose to stay here in Qingyang town to rest for a while in order to come to the snowy land to experience. About half a month later, Lu Chen and Ji Shuang also arrived at Qingyang town. Pedestrians in Qingyang town were coming and going, and the entrance to the town was crowded with people. They seemed to be reading a notice. Ji Shuang couldn't hold back her curiosity and joined in the fun with the crowd. "What does the notice say?" Lu Chen asked quietly. "It's not an important thing. Do you remember the Mo family I told you before? Didn't they find their disabled legitimate daughter who had been separated for many years? The Mo family is now recruiting famous doctors from the ancient martial arts world to treat her injuries." Lu Chen's dim and deep eyes flashed with a sharp cold light. "The Mo family. Lu Wanqing." As if aware of the turbulent evil spirit in Lu Chen's eyes, Ji Shuang frowned and asked, "What's wrong? Do you have any connection with the Mo family? Why can't you help but get angry every time I mention the Mo family? This seems to have nothing to do with you, and now that you have arrived safely in Qingyang town, let's say goodbye." Lu Chen glanced at Ji Shuang coldly, then turned around and walked towards Qingyang town indifferently. Ji Shuang is definitely a big trouble, and people who want to kill him are probably all over the ancient martial arts world. There is also Mo Yu, the Grand Master of the Illusion Array who escaped from his hands. Maybe he has already informed Ji Han, and it won't be long before a more powerful enemy comes to take Ji Shuang's life. "Hey Lu Chen, are you so heartless? Although we are not close friends, in the past half-month, You are really cruel to watch me die in their hands? Ji Shuang quickly followed Lu Chen's footsteps. Although he also knew that this would cause trouble to Lu Chen, he was still young and did not want to die. Go away, if you follow me again, I won't mind killing you to take credit from Ji Han. Lu Chen threatened coldly. Ji Shuang pulled her lips and said, Lu Chen, as long as you help me win the throne, I can give you whatever you want. Oh, really? Even if it's your Biming Empire's artifact, the demon refining pot? Lu Chen paused, but did not turn around, leaving Ji Shuang with his back. Ji Shuang was slightly surprised. The demon refining pot was a national artifact of the Biming Empire. Even he would not have the opportunity to come into contact with it. How did Lu Chen, a warrior from the secular world, learn about the existence of the demon refining pot? After a brief hesitation, Ji Shuang agreed directly and said, Okay, Lu Chen, I promise you, as long as you help me win the throne, let alone the demon refining pot, even the Shenong cauldron of the Long family of the Nanshuang Empire. Come over. Lu Chen sneered and said, You are willing. Is there anything you can't bear to part with? Lu Chen, you should know very well by now that there are only two final endings for me. If I die here, what use will the demon refining pot be to me? Ji Shuang said forcefully, he does not have any power in the Biming Empire, and even if he returns to the Biming Empire, he will only die. And the Lu Chen in front of him is the only warrior he can recruit currently. Even if you can't help him win the throne, you can at least protect him without any problem. Lu Chen did not speak, but continued to walk towards Qingyang town. Ji Shuang followed him with courage. In the medicine hall in Qingyang town, Lu Chen and Ji Shuang pushed open the medicine hall. This was the only medicine hall in Qingyang town, and the Medicine King's dictionary that Lu Chen cherished was in the hands of the medicine hall shopkeeper. Is old pharmacist Han here? Lu Chen asked towards the medicine hall. I saw a child walking out from behind a counter that was taller than him. He said in a sweet voice, Grandpa went to Nanshuang City, the imperial capital. He's not here now. Lu Chen smiled softly and said, Little brother, do you know when old pharmacist Han will come back? He thought for a while and then said, Grandpa left 3 days ago to treat the Mo family's legitimate daughter. I don't know when he will come back. It may be as short as 3 months or as long as half a year. It turns out that old pharmacist Han has left Qingyang town, little brother like this. We heard that old pharmacist Han had a wordless medical book, so we wanted to come and observe it. Where is the wordless medical book now? Lu Chen expressed his intention and said that he was not afraid that the other party would be suspicious. After all, the person in front of him was still an immature kid. Moreover, almost no one knew the function of the wordless medical book and its origin. Oh, it turns out you also came here for that wordless medical book. Children are accustomed to it, and it seems that many people do it every day. But big brother, you may be disappointed. Grandpa has already taken the medical books away. You should also have seen from the notice outside the town. The Mo family of the 7 major families is recruiting famous doctors from all over the world. When the time comes, all the heroes will gather. Grandpa hopes that someone can unlock the secret of the wordless medical book. Lu Chen felt disappointed and thought to himself, the Medicine King's code has been taken away. It seems that we have to find another way. Lu Chen touched his chin, and the corners of his lips curved into a playful arc. Since the Mo family is seeking famous doctors in the Manchu martial arts world, isn't he also a doctor himself? Lu Chen is not only proficient in the 13 needles of the Ghost Gate, but also has a set of dragon soul needles, which are enough to heal human flesh and bones. He is no different from a miracle doctor. Lu Chen decided that he would also go to Mo's house to join in the fun. He didn't know how desperate Lu Wanqing would be when she saw him. After Lu Chen left the medicine hall, he found a tea house to rest in Qingyang town. Under the shadow in the distance, a bearded man in armor held a giant axe in his hand and said with a sinister expression, Is Mo Yu the 7th grade martial emperor you mentioned? If His Highness the Crown Prince knew that you were defeated at the hands of such a bastard, he will be disappointed in you. As if these words had some magical power, Mo Yu couldn't help but tremble slightly. Mo Yu knows that if it loses its value, it means death. His Royal Highness Prince Ji Han will never allow waste to exist around him. He must kill Ji Shuang, otherwise Mo Yu can only die to apologize to Ji Han. Next to the bearded man, Mo Yu, who was wearing a blue robe, gritted his teeth and said, Shen Xuantong, I advise you not to underestimate him. You'd better call all the people in your guard group here, otherwise you will suffer the consequences. Shen Xuantong sneered disdainfully. Mo Yu, what do you mean? Are you saying that I, a powerful 8th grade demigod in the late stage, will lose to a martial emperor? Don't think that I am as useless as you. Shen Xuantong's words made Mo Yu crazy for a moment, and Mo Yu said with a ferocious face. Okay, since you are sure to kill him, I will help you trap them in the illusion array. Do you think I need it? You, a loser, want to take credit from me? When I return to the Biming Empire, I will truthfully tell the truth about your defeat to His Highness the Crown Prince. Shen Xuantong's eyes widened angrily. He glared at Mo Yu and then walked towards the tea house. In Shen Xuantong's eyes, Mo Yu is just a loser without any support. If he hadn't been proficient in the illusion formation, Mo Yu would never have had the opportunity to serve His Highness the Crown Prince, let alone be on an equal footing with him. As long as he kills Ji Shuang, he will report to Ji Han the details of how Mo Yu let Ji Shuang go, and see how Mo Yu will still be embarrassed in front of him. Mo Yu's angry expression filled his dark pupils. He looked at Shen Xuantong's back gloomily, holding his hands tightly, and a pale white appeared between his bones. He worked hard to become the Grand Master of the illusion formation today, and now, Shen Xuantong actually wanted to make all his years of hard work go to waste with just one sentence. Mo Yu narrowed his cold eyes. Shen Xuantong, you already have a way to die. Lu Chen and Ji Shuang were sitting in the lobby of the tea house. At this moment, the storyteller in the tea house was telling the story impassionedly about how the human race and the demon race joined forces to defeat the barbarians 5,000 years ago. After he told the wonderful points, many readers were willing to pay for it. Give him silver coins as a reward. Lu Chen raised the tea in his hand, put it gently to his lips and sipped it. Then he raised his eyes and looked at Ji Shuang and said, Ji Shuang, I will go to Nanshuang City, the imperial capital of Nanshuang Empire. Are you going to follow me? Should I come along, or should I stay here and hide from the limelight? Ji Shuang remained silent and said after a long while, the people in Nanshuang, the imperial capital, have many eyes, and I don't know how many Ji Han's eyes are there. If I appear there, my traces will definitely be exposed, so I plan to wait until Ji Han becomes emperor. I'll find you again. Lu Chen said expressionlessly. Wise choice, but don't come to me after Ji Han becomes emperor. At that time, you will have no chance to take back the throne from him. I know. Ji Shuang said quietly. Shen Xuantong walked into the tea house and began to look for Lu Chen and Ji Shuang. He grinned and said, I found you. Shen Xuantong walked towards Lu Chen with heavy steps. The moment he appeared, the true energy in Lu Chen's body surged out instantly, and the surging true energy caused agitation in the people around him. This is just a remote town. The martial arts in the town are only 5th grade martial emperor. Now that Lu Chen's 7th grade martial emperor's cultivation is revealed, they are frightened. Even the storyteller on the stage couldn't help but ask, if these two brothers have any grudges, please go outside the tea house and settle them yourself. The moment he saw Shen Xuantong, Ji Shuang's soul began to throb. He naturally knew Shen Xuantong, the son of Biming Empire General Shen Yi, and he had the terrifying strength of the late 8th grade demigod. Shen Xuantong ignored the storyteller's reminder and slammed the giant axe in his hand against the table in front of Lu Chen. He crossed his thick arms and said, You were the one who broke Mo Yu's illusory formation. Are you interested in competing with me? If you win, I will let the 7th prince leave safely. If you lose, haha. Shen Xuantong naturally didn't think Lu Chen could defeat him. It was already remarkable that Emperor Wu could survive from his hands. Lu Chen did not answer Shen Xuantong, but said coldly to Ji Shuang, This is already the 3rd time. The true energy in Lu Chen's body surged out like a tide. He suddenly turned his palm into a fist and punched Shen Xuantong's chest angrily. Shen Xuantong did not make any defense. After receiving Lu Chen's punch, his body flew out, making a big hole in the wall of the tavern. His footsteps plowed deep marks on the ground, and he fell backwards. It took dozens of steps to stabilize his body. The tea patrons in the tea house dispersed in a hurry. This level of competition was definitely not something they could join in the fun. Shen Xuantong grinned and said, No wonder Mo Yu, that good for nothing, was so afraid of you that he was able to repel me dozens of steps. You are not a simple martial emperor. It's a pity that you met me today. Today is your and Ji Shuang's Memorial Day. Shen Xuantong roared loudly. This is shocking. Shen Xuantong's arms were like rocks, surrounded by majestic qi. He slammed his fists onto the ground, and the ground instantly split into pieces, cracking like a spider web. The cracks spread to Lu Chen's feet. Lu Chen hurriedly retreated. He turned to Ji Shuang and said, "If you don't want to die, get out quickly." Number 2 L equals Ji Shuang was stunned for a moment, then turned into an ice rainbow and rushed out of the tea house. Ji Shuang burst into tears with gratitude and said, "After you die, Lu Chen, I will worship you every year. I will be a good brother for the rest of my life." Although Ji Shuang knew that Lu Chen was very strong, he knew Shen Xuanteng's strength even better. Did the future general of the Baiming Empire live up to his reputation in vain? Seventh Prince, do I let you go? After I kill this kid, I will slowly torture you to death. Shen Xuantengsen smiled coldly, and then the ground began to tremble violently, and a huge rock python with a size of 10 feet sprang out from the cracks in the ground. The rock python spit out snake letters and chased in the direction of Ji Shuang. Lu Chen smiled solemnly and said, "The 8th grade demigod. Ji Shuang is worth it even if he dies. He can actually have so many strong men from the Baiming Empire surrounding him." Shen Xuanteng's face was indifferent, and the brown energy condensed on his fists. The wind of the fists tore through the air and bombarded Lu Shen's figure. Shen Xuanteng didn't hold anything back. He made a killing move with a devastating force, enough to obliterate everything. Strange phoenix flames burned around Lu Chen's body. The power of the overbearing flames was enough to burn everything. As the phoenix flame wings flapped, Lu Chen crashed into Shen Xuanteng like a meteor, and was blasted away by his fist wind. A booming explosion sounded, and thick dust and smoke filled the sky and the earth. Shen Xuanteng raised his arm and said with a strange smile, "Red sky axe." Among the ruins of the tea house, a giant axe with strange red light flew out and fell into Shen Xuanteng's hands. He swung the giant axe with both hands and said, "Just watch how I destroy you, Emperor Wu." The giant axe went down smoothly, splitting the ground with unparalleled force, and the power of tearing space swept towards the landing, and the world was filled with frightening fluctuations of silence. The dragon and the phoenix are striking. The sound of the harmony of dragons and phoenixes echoed through the sky, and the deep shadow of the ancient dragon appeared. Not far from the shadow of the ancient dragon, a firebird burning with phoenix flames fluttered out. Its destructive power was enough to compete with Shen Xuanteng. The phantom of the dragon and phoenix met the giant axe, and a deep dragon cry echoed in the world. The phantom of the ancient dragon opened its teeth and clawed at Shen Xuanteng's body. But the sharp dragon claws seemed to be grasping on the rock, only because Shen Xuanteng was thick and thick. A shallow scratch was left on the surface of the armor. Under the giant blade, the ancient dragon's shadow shattered, faded, and disappeared. The phoenix looked up to the sky and screamed, and the fire feathers fell like meteors and shot towards Shen Xuanteng. Shen Xuanteng's eyes condensed, and he raised the giant axe with ease, intercepting all the fire feathers that were burning like meteors. He sneered, "Although your martial arts are a bit weird, no matter how weird you are in the face of strong strength, your martial arts skills are in vain. You have no chance of winning." "Oh, is it so? Shen Xuanteng is very strong, stronger than the 2 previous Mo family warriors combined, but he is not invincible. Shen Xuanteng's speed is his biggest flaw. As long as Lu Chen can take advantage of this, he is definitely not invincible." Possible. Seeing Lu Chen responding to him so coldly, Shen Xuanteng sneered and said, pretending. As the phoenix flame wings flapped, the Xuanyuan sword appeared in his palm, and he shot towards Shen Xuanteng. The extreme speed made Shen Xuanteng slightly stunned. He was secretly shocked. What a fast speed. Shen Xuanteng hurriedly blocked the scarlet sky axe in front of him. The Xuanyuan sword and the scarlet sky axe collided fiercely, and scattered sparks scattered all over the ground. Lu Chen relied on his extreme speed to play with Shen Xuanteng in the palm of his hand. Shen Xuanteng's eyes were dark, and he smiled strangely and said, "You don't really think that if you go faster, I won't be able to do anything to you, do you?" Thunder shock. Shen Xuanteng shouted violently, and strange dark purple lightning arcs danced on the teeth of the Qishao axe in his hand. As the lightning arcs jumped, he disappeared instantly, and when he reappeared, he was already on top of Lu Chen's head. The giant axe in his hand followed the trend. When it comes down, it wants to split the heaven and the earth. Lu Chen turned pale in shock, locking the enemy in the void. Dragon and Phoenix Scripture, second form. Transform into a phoenix. The phoenix flame wings behind Lu Chen lit up with violent red light, and layers of new phoenix feathers covered his flame wings. Different from the previous phoenix flame wings, these were genuine phoenix feathers. The phoenix feathers were burning with phoenix flames, and the phoenix flame wings were folded to protect Lu Chen in the fire wings. The red sky axe slashed on the fire wings, and a heart-wrenching tearing feeling swept through Lu Chen's heart. His phoenix wings' blood actually flowed out of it, but the moment the blood flowed out, it was evaporated by the scorching heat. Lu Chenru was hit hard and fell like a meteor, creating a deep pit on the ground. A fishy sweetness surged into his throat. The gap between him and Shen Xuantong was still too big. Even if he used the second form of the dragon and phoenix scripture, phoenix transformation and condensed real phoenix feathers, he could not compete with him. Bump. Lu Chenchang stood up with his body supported. The phoenix feathers behind him disappeared. At this moment, white light flashed in Lu Chen's eyes. He murmured, "Dragon and Phoenix Manual. The third move. Transform into a dragon." In Shen Xuantong's shocked eyes, dragon wings grew out of Lu Chen's back, dragon horns sprouted from Lu Chen's head, and even his arms began to turn into dragon claws. The ancient dragon essence and blood refined by Lu Chen originally belonged to Yinglong. With the blessing of the dragon and phoenix scripture, Yinglong's essence and blood gave Lu Chen a pair of dragon wings. This is all the martial arts of the Dragon and Phoenix Manual. The Dragon and Phoenix Manual, which surpasses the heaven-level skills, has finally begun to show its edge in Lu Chen's hands after a long period of time. Shen Xuantong stood in the sky, his eyes showing deep surprise. He said to himself in horror, "This is a dragon. How is this possible? How can the human race master the power that belongs to the dragon race?" Shen Xuantong no longer dares to underestimate Lu Chen. No wonder he can make the great master of the illusion formation, Mo Yu, return in defeat. It turns out that his methods are more than that. You have successfully aroused my curiosity. I am Shen Xuantong, the son of the general of the Baiming Empire. Are you interested in joining me in serving His Highness the Crown Prince? Shen Xuantong said, staring at Lu Chen. Are you worthy? Lu Chen raised his white eyes slightly and said contemptuously. Huh? I don't know how to cherish the chance I gave you to live. If it's like this later, don't kneel down and beg me. Shen Xuantong said with gloomy eyes. He clenched his palms and raised the giant axe in his hand to strike at Lu Chen again. The red sky axe with jumping thunder arcs pulled the dark purple thunder arcs to tear apart the space with a power that destroyed the heaven and earth. The axe blade exuded power enough to annihilate everything. If it were any 7th grade martial emperor other than Lu Chen, it would be impossible. It is impossible to survive under this lightning arc of death. In the state of Dragon Soul, Lu Chen's various physical functions have been improved several times. Now with the blessing of the power of transformation into a dragon, his martial arts cultivation has already infinitely approached the late stage of demigods, not to mention Lu Chen's physical strength. Lu Chen's transformed arm held the Xuanyuan sword, and he raised it suddenly. The vertical and horizontal sword energy roared out, and the sound of breaking wind swept into Shen Xuantong's ears. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said hoarsely, "Dragon King's world-destroying wave." A bright seal appeared from Lu Chen's chest, and the seal exuded heart-stopping fluctuations. Shen Xuantong actually felt a hint of threat from the seal. He did not dare to underestimate the enemy in the slightest. The Qishao axe tried to break through Lu Chen's defense with its ultimate strength. The surrounding Zhenqi converged towards the seal like a tide. The already brilliant seal was now even brighter. A beam of light that could destroy everything shot out from the seal on Lu Chen's chest. He blasted towards Shen Xuantong in front of him. At such a close distance, the spiritual light beam bombarded Shen Xuantong's body. Even under the protection of armor, Shen Xuantong felt like he was hit hard, and he flew out. Shen Xuantong's face was as dark as coke, and his black hair turned into ashes under the majestic power of the Dragon King's world-destroying wave. Even the heaven-level armor on his body had dense cracks. The cracks spread throughout the armor, as if it would break at the touch of a touch. Shen Xuantong's eyes widened. He took 3 breaths before he came back to his senses. He shouted hoarsely, "This is impossible. My immortal armor is a middle-grade mysterious weapon of the heaven level. How could it not be able to withstand even one blow from you? Live." Lu Chen's dragon wings flapped and he stood in the sky like a god. His eyes squinted and said, "Why are you surprised? I'll ask you to die next." The radiant pattern in front of Lu Chen's body once again shone brightly, and an eternity-spanning dragon roar resounded through the heaven and earth. The devastating light waves struck straight towards Shen Xuantong, and a fierce wind swept across the heaven and earth. Shen Xuantong's eyes showed deep horror. A martial emperor could actually force him into such a state of embarrassment. If word spread about this, how would he lose face? Shen Xuantong suddenly raised his Qishao axe, and the axe blade was split with lightning arcs. The light wave was enough to annihilate everything, and the dazzling beam of light split into two instantly. But it's not over yet. Under the power of the Dragon King's destroying world wave, Shen Xuantong's defense was in vain. The red sky axe turned into powder and disappeared into thin air in the violent impact of Zhenqi. Then, the light wave struck Shen Xuantong's chest impartially. Ah! Shen Xuantong's tiger body shook, and then his heart-rending screams were heard. In the dazzling firelight, a figure slowly fell. When the smoke and dust dissipated, Shen Xuantong was seen kneeling on the ground. He supported his body on the ground with both hands to prevent his body from falling completely. His stubbornness would never allow him to lose to a bastard like Lu Chen. Shen Xuantong raised his eyes resentfully, stared at Lu Shen, gritted his teeth and said, "You dare to kill me? I am the son of the general of the Baiming Empire. If I die here, my father will definitely use all his strength to destroy you." If Shen Xuantong could scare Lu Chen away with just 2 words, then he wouldn't be called Lu Chen. "It's really noisy. If Shen Yi dares to come, I will kill him." Just as he finished speaking, Lu Chen appeared in front of Shen Xuantong like a ghost. He raised his dragon claws and tore apart Shen Xuantong's vulnerable defense. Shocking claw marks tore from Shen Xuantong's back. Shen Xuantong could no longer hold on. Kneel down at Lu Chen's feet. Shen Xuantong was surprised that since Lu Chen knew that his father was Shen Yi, the general of the Baiming Empire, he still dared to kill him without fear. Could it be that after Lu Chen's death, besides Ji Shuang, who else would support him? Just when Lu Chen was about to deliver the final blow to Shen Xuantong, the earth suddenly began to tremble violently. From the unfathomable crack, the rock python with scarlet eyes danced wildly towards Lu Chen with its indestructible body. The rock python seems to have some special connection with Shen Xuantong. It can sense Shen Xuantong's life characteristics and will immediately return to him when he is in danger. Lu Chen looked at the black shadow covering the sky and hurriedly raised his arms, trying to offset the rock python's attack. Although Lu Chen's defense had increased several times in his transformed dragon state, the rock python in front of him was at the level of an 8th-level monster. With all his strength, it was even more powerful than the god of war. Without any accident, Lu Chen was directly knocked hundreds of meters away during the collision with the rock python before he could stabilize his body. The moment the rock python fought back Lu Chen, Shen Xuantong roared at the top of his lungs, "Mo Yu, you bastard, you want to see how long the excitement lasts." Mo Yu, who was watching all this silently from a distance, gritted his teeth slightly, and after a brief hesitation, his figure also appeared next to Shen Xuantong. He looked at Lu Chen indifferently, without any nonsense. He lifted up Shen Xuantong, who was lying on the ground, and disappeared into a blue broken shadow. Although Lu Chen was most likely exhausted now, it was not ruled out that he was not injured at all, and Mo Yu didn't dare to bet. After Mo Yu recognized Lu Chen's strength, he even began to secretly rejoice that he had not fought with Lu Chen to death. Such bizarre martial arts was unheard of. In short, Lu Chen was definitely not someone he could provoke. Even Shen Xuantong was defeated by Lu Chen, let alone him. After seeing Shen Xuantong being rescued by Mo Yu, the rock python lost all intention to fight. It spit out snake letters and looked at Lu Chen with its scarlet eyes. After the breaths of Shen Xuantong and Mo Yu disappeared, it turned around and got into the crack. Lu Chen gasped for breath, wishing he could suck up all the air around him. Shen Xuantong is definitely the strongest person he has met so far, except for the Valkyrie dragon Bai Yu. If he had not completely cultivated the dragon and phoenix scripture to perfection not long ago and used the power of transforming dragon, he would definitely have died in Shen Xuantong's hands. Damn Ji Shuang, you shouldn't have placed your hopes on him. How could Ji Shuang seize the throne with him? Lu Chen turned his eyes and looked at the ruins around him. He didn't dare to stay here any longer. He was worried that Shen Xuantong and Mo Yu would come back and fight back. Now that Mo Yu didn't know his condition, this was his perfect chance to escape. Outside Qingyang town, Ji Shuang looked at Lu Chen with admiration and said, "Lu Chen, you are my good big brother. Even Shen Xuantong is no match for you. I really love you to death. Get out. I'm injured, I need to find a place to heal now. Lu Chen's voice became much weaker, so under the leadership of Ji Shuang, the two of them came to the back of a hill. Lu Chen exchanged a healing elixir from the system space and took it, then began to refine the contents of the elixir. Strong medicinal power. Current destiny value. 220,000.